Save the game.
Whoa.
Okay.
Hey Mason, Connie, Hiscore, what's up? What's good? Alright, 1 sec, y'all. I'm gonna start this matchup chart in 1 second. Let me make sure that everything's good. Recording. Streaming. Nice. Awesome. Alright, I'm gonna be... Actually, I'm not gonna be annoying yet. Alright, I need to grab some water. Actually, no, my water's right here. What am I saying? I need to... What did I need to do? Dude, I needed to do something. I'm zoning out completely. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna take some dish to the kitchen real quick. And I'm gonna make the tweet and post on Instagram that I'm live. How am I so bad at this, dude? Am I bad at this? I think I'm bad at this. Alright, Instagram post. Zapdos, what's good? Alright, oh yeah, I remember what I wanted to do. I just wanted to make sure, because I had a lesson right before this. So I just wanted to make sure that on the VOD, the music isn't actually gonna play. Let me just check that out real quick. ShinyMark 1. Good, Zapdos. ¿Qué dice Araragi? ¿Cómo estás, guapo hermoso? Alrighty. What I was gonna do also? Oh yeah. I'll be right back, guys. 1 second. BRB. Alrighty, what's good? What's good? What's good? So I have music playing right now, but I cannot hear it. What? What if I do this? My English class almost starts. Yo en corto. Alrighty. So the music is now playing, but I want to make sure that on the VOD it's not actually gonna be playing. So in the meantime, let's fill in the matchup chart from yesterday. Is everything good? Does everything sound well? Alrighty. Busted. Everything sounds good? Awesome. Alrighty, let me just fill in the tier list and then I'll check the audio thing on the VOD. We back. What's good, API? Hope you're doing good, man. Did you help your family? Hope you did, bro. That's one. Then we added one more tier. Just this one. Purple. You've been streaming at the perfect time for me. Been on road trips. Road trips to where? What have you been doing? Just with family and stuff? Que dice Fontaine, ¿cómo estás? Guapísimo. +2 or more. Ready, let me just share the stream on the WhatsApp group. I did. I'm practicing for bracket tomorrow. My first B tier. What event is it? What? I didn't know there was a B tier right now. Or like these days. Thank you, API. Thank you. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you. Dude, I love Amori. Y'all should play Amori immediately if you haven't. Music is great. The gameplay is so fun. The story is crazy. What a game, dude. It used to be my favorite game for the longest time. Prodigy Classic 3. If I upset my round 1, I have to fight Syrup. Sheesh! That's a stacked tourney, bro. For sure. Damn. Damn. Christ. ¿Qué dice Pro Turbo? ¿Cómo estás, amigo? Under huevos. Bien, mano, ahí. Acabo de terminar una lección. Ahorita alistándome para hacer esto. Ok, vamos a llenar la tier list de ayer. Entonces era Pikachu. Hasta arriba. I'm gonna start in a little bit, guys. Don't worry. We will get there. We will get there. Bayo, Cloud, and Doc. I think I might move some things. Like I've thought about it a little bit. Maybe I'm letting my bias get to me. My online bias, if you know what I mean. Crom. Well, honestly, I can just like put them wherever. It doesn't really matter. Bowser was +2. Actually, no, Bowser was +1.5. Banjo was 1.5. Diddy was +1. DK was +2. Defense was +1. +1. +1. Plus horrible. +1. +1. +1. +1 or 2. +1.5. +1. +1, I think? Yeah. +1. Then we finished with Kazuya, right? Yeah, we did. Awesome. Alrighty. Hola Shiny, ¿qué dice X-Bless? ¿Cómo estás? Un pica. Oh yeah, and we talked about some random characters. Also, we talked about Pyramithra, which was +1. Where did I put them? I put them next to Diddy. And also Rosalina. And me, Sword Fighter, yeah. Why did they all end up in that same position? Like, they're literally next to each other in the screenshot I took yesterday. Me, Sword Fighter, it's right here. And then I think that's it. Looks about right, yeah, from yesterday. ¿Qué pedo? Yo no sé inglés. Hola, 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 hola. Yo solo mandé el pica, no, un pica. Have you already seen the Sonic movie? No, no la he visto, amigo Ararayi. La voy a ver con Ligia estos días. De hecho, creo que el 30 vamos a ir al cine juntos. Hola, Nier, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás, amigo Nier? ¿Qué pedo? Yo no sé inglés. Estaré hablando inglés la mayoría del tiempo, definitivamente, pero también voy a hablar un poquillo de español. Igual que ayer, o sea, va a ser como que... Va a ser que voy a estar hablando inglés todo el tiempo, pero luego eventualmente me va a repetir en español, si quieren. ¿Puedes explicar a Corrin? Es que no estuve ayer. Básicamente Corrin es muy lenta, entonces sí tiene que lidiar con el T-Jolt siempre. Entonces la fuerza de Corrin en la matchup es el rango, que es el waleo, ¿verdad? Pero al tener que lidiar con el T-Jolt, en el momento que el T-Jolt llega hacia ella, el matchup se vuelve muy... Su timing para waleo es muy predecible, básicamente, porque tiene que interactuar en el momento que el T-Jolt le llega. Entonces, yo, Neros, thank you so much for the raid, bro. What's up? Welcome, welcome, all Pikas, all French Pikas, damn. Hola, hola, hola. ¿Qué dice Alfan? ¿Cómo estás? Nero says Pikachu busted. You're right. It's top one. I don't think he's top one anymore. I can see it, honestly. I can still see it. I just think Steve is too ridiculous, too brain dead. It's not that I struggled with Steve myself, but I just see all the things that they're still not doing, you know. ¿El True Frame es fácil o algo irrelevante porque te vas para el otro lado? Básicamente es irrelevante, porque sí, siempre me debería ir para abajo de la stage. Nero says Pikachu is bottom tier. He's almost bottom tier, bro. Pretty much almost bottom tier. Bottom of the food chain. No problem, brother. Have a good stream. Thank you, Neros. Appreciate it. What's up, everyone from Neros' stream? Greninja. Greninja básicamente tiene muy mal out of shield, entonces cada vez que tiene que defenderse contra mí, escuda. Y luego como que salta out of shield, entonces muchas veces podemos como que pegarle en el aire con un fair o con un upper, por ejemplo. Y aunque ella quiera defenderse, no puede, tiene muy falling data. La edgeguardeamos, la ledge trapeamos, casi que solo tiene el T-Jolt para lidiar con... O bueno, perdón, casi que solo tiene el Substitute para lidiar con el T-Jolt. Y realmente podemos como que tirar el T-Jolt y siempre esperar el down B, ¿saben? Entonces como que... lo puedes castigar o en el peor de los casos que no lo puedas castigar. Se va offstage Greninja y no pasa nada, ¿verdad? Entonces eso... Buena onda. Nero says Pikachu is mid tier. I believe it, dude. Y eso top tier. Hola Violence, bienvenido. Bienvenida. ¿Eres la Violence? ¿Qué dice Marth? ¿Cómo estás? Cuando un smashito Shuko tenés miedo que te dé verga, va. La verdad es que he estado bastante ocupado por las fiestas y todo eso, mano. Pero prontito. Y ahorita ya me dieron notitas y todo eso. Entonces, así es. Si soy la Violence. Hola, bienvenida. Espero que estés bien. Gracias por pasar el stream. Ocupada. Las choleras, espérate. Bueno, amigos, en un ratito, ahora sí ya voy a empezar. No sabía que hacías streams. Hasta ahorita estoy empezando a hacerlos, de hecho. Porque me he dedicado a competir todos estos años. Antes hacía streams de vez en cuando. Pero... Ay, es que cuando streameo juego muy mal. Entonces como que no me gustaba streamear ya que mi meta era mejorar, ¿verdad? Pero pues, ahorita que ya me siento como muy cómodo con mi nivel. O sea, sí considero que soy como top 10 de skill. No me molesta streamear. Y creo que para ser un jugador o algo de esports profesional probablemente tienes que hacer contenido, ¿saben? Entonces hay que crecer la marca, desafortunadamente, pero pues me voy a acostumbrar. No, ahorita ya no me disgusta, sinceramente. Ayer me preguntó como él como que por qué de la nada me dieron ganas de hacer stream y que parece que ya no me molesta y la verdad es que me estoy acostumbrando, o sea, poco a poco. Puedes hacer multistream en TikTok, te iría re bien, en TikTok creces muy bien. Pero escuché que necesitas 1000 followers en TikTok para empezar a hacer streams. Y esos followers no los tengo. ¿Saben? Ok, esperen, solo quiero revisar algo cabal aquí en los VODs. Pam, pararam, pam. Solo son para monetizar los 1000 followers. Oh, eso es buena idea, entonces como que para crecer, que la gente vea los streams y vea mis otras redes, dices tú. Eso es buena idea, eso es muy buena idea. Ok, ya, ahora todo está bien. Ok, amiguitos, es hora. Como dijo la Mariah Carey, It's time. ¿Sí los juntas? Sí quisiera, o sea, acabo de ayer estaba hablando con el chat de que quería hacer como cortos informativos-ish de Smash. Pero requiero de alguien que me ayude a editar un poquito, al menos, porque no sé editar. Ok, ahorita empezamos. Igual te sacamos tus Spice Clips. 10.000 en el tirón. Y hay mucha gente nueva, así que los puedes pasar por aquí, por ejemplo. Esa es buena idea, lo voy a hacer. Muchas gracias por el consejo, de hecho sí, sí, definitivamente lo voy a hacer. Háblele al Godsur, que ese hasta miniaturas hace. De hecho le debo una lección a ese cerote. El lunes creo que tenemos que hacer una lección. Ahora que lo pienso, es la primera vez que te escucho hablar en español porque en casi todos los torneos que te miro son gringos. Pero, ¿dónde me has visto hablar en inglés? Porque usualmente solo son como a veces en entrevistas o en podcasts de otros top players. Tan chulo, Arari, te amo mucho. Bueno, vamos a empezar. Recuerden que pueden donar o suscribirse para que yo hable de un personaje fuera de orden, pero si no, lo voy a hacer en orden. Reminder that if you want me to do a character, you can subscribe or donate for me to do the character out of order. So yeah, let's should I start? Yeah, I should probably start already. Alrighty, let's do, and again, I'm gonna do 5 to 10 characters in a row, and then I'm gonna stop and talk to chat, just because I want to do this quickly. Also, I'm gonna go faster than yesterday, because a lot of characters are very simple, and I realized, like, I really cannot explain a matchup just by talking, you know? There's a lot of visual examples that need to be seen, then, like, ultimate frame data and stuff like that, so, yeah, we'll see, we'll see. En entrevistas, quizás en cumbre. Ah, es cierto, sí. ¿Tú eres de aquí de Centroamérica? Sentadillas por Shiny. No porque estoy bien planote. Pero de hecho sí he empezado a hacer ejercicio. Entonces ya voy a ponerme mamadísimo. No, no, tampoco quiero ponerme mamado, la verdad. Solo quiero estar bien fitness. Pero la gente solo me mira porque juego bien Smash. Aunque me han dicho que, o sea, yo la verdad lo que quiero en mi contenido es como que ser un top player que sea accesible, porque mucha gente como que no habla tanto del juego. A mí sí me gusta mucho hablar del juego y no me molesta que me pregunten cosas. Así que ya saben, si quieren apoyarme, si quieren ayudarme a mí a crecer ahí humildemente y verme en unos torneos, ya saben. Porque no tengo sponsor, no he tenido sponsor, gané un Super Mayor. Solo como 15 personas han ganado Super Mayors, creo que menos. Y no tengo sponsor. ¿Qué dice Nonem? ¿Cómo estás, amigo? Okay, va, ya, empecemos. Let's start. Let's start. So, 5 or 10 characters in a row. Let's go. So, Ken, honestly, this matchup is borderline. I'm just gonna say it's plus 1.5. I was gonna put it in plus 1 just because of how cheesy the character is. But realistically, dude, he doesn't. He just gets advantage stated forever. He gets cheesed. Pikachu gets out of everything with SDI. And while his like Shoryuken is very cheesy, of course, you can also still get out sometimes. And also like it's just very linear the way that he wants to get it, right? And first off, like he needs to get close to us for that to happen. If he wants to get close to us, he has to read us and like get a clean hit if we're not shielding. a lot of his stuff is actually pretty unsafe on shield, or like we can still play the mix-ups and they end up being in our favor risk reward wise. But also lastly, like if we really decide not to interact, we can just really circle camp, we can T-jolt, and he doesn't have like the frame data, the speed, the lingering hitboxes to deal with all this, you know. So a lot of the time we can just do whatever and just win, you know. Um, it's just cheesy. Just like the character by nature gets a lot of range because because he's heavy-ish, but then he hits us with Shoryu at 60 and we might die. You know, like that's the saving grace. But if you're super like concentrated on not getting hit by that, it's generally very chill. Tardus, gracias por el sub. Bienvenido amigo, ¿cómo estás? Hi handsome, ¿cómo estás tú handsome? ¿Cómo te va? La verdad amigos, no estoy feeling la música de Omori. Amo Omori, pero creo que no es el vibe. Vamos a poner música de Pokémon. Más hypecita. Sí, sí, sí. Tardus, yo sé que no juegas Ultimate, pero si quieres que hable de algún personaje fuera de orden, dime, yo puedo hablar de él. Happy Christmas, espero te la hayas pasado muy bien. Tú también, y todos aquí, espero que hayan pasado unas bonitas fiestas y que pasen un bonito fin de año, ya casi, pongámonos metas y sigámoslas. Este año sí. Porque la verdad es que yo no me recuerdo qué metas me puse el año pasado, pero creo que logré muchas cosas que quería lograr. Happy Hanukkah, that's true. I don't know, like, do you celebrate Hanukkah at API? I don't know anyone here in Guatemala that celebrates Hanukkah, actually. I do? Well, that's awesome. Happy Hanukkah, dude. Hope you're enjoying it. Vengo a apoyar el stream a huevo. Bueno, si tú quieres que hable de cierto personaje fuera de orden, tú me dices. Alrighty, let's keep it going. So, Dedede, this character... So, he's very heavy. And, like, he's... Compared to other heavies, like, there may be characters that are heavier than him. But it feels like he's the least cheesable. Like, you have to play the game the longest against him just because of, like, his recovery being better than most heavies, right? So I'm on the borderline of putting him in plus 1.5. But realistically, I think it's definitely plus 2. Yeah, no, there's no way. Like, he literally has one of the worst frame data in the game on shield, out of shield. He, like, relies on Gordos a lot in the matchup, and like T-Jolts just immediately reflect it. T-Jolts are like by nature better Gordos. Like they're obviously like much weaker. They're not gonna kill you, but dude, like it's so much more spammable. It's so much like it just reflects it to him. He has inhale for T-Jolt, but you can literally just always T-Jolt, run behind the T-Jolt, and then jump over if you see that he's inhales. Then he reflects it, and then boom, free landing there like 80% if you get a near loop or like advantage state or like whatever, you know. He gets up throw thunder because of the bad air dodge. He gets edge guarded even if it is more of a rinse kind of and repeat kind of matchup where since our backer lingers, you know, we can still two frame him even if because of the armor on his uppy and just like rinse repeat. Every jump jumps a little bit less, so eventually he's forced to uppy and we can just rinse repeat once more or like spike him and he dies, you know. He gets juggled, he gets sledge strapped. He doesn't really advantage state us well. Like one of his saving graces as a character is like the 2-frame dash attack that is crazy. But we just go under the stage every single time. And Gordo ledge strapping is okay because quick attack doesn't break it immediately. But honestly, we can just like drop from ledge T-Jolt, hit the Gordo, and then play a next mix-up, you know? And sure, if he guesses the mix-up, he kills us early, but like, dude, it's not that realistic. So yeah, it's very rough for him. It's just scary because he effectively lives the longest in the entire cast against us. He lives to like 200 sometimes, and then up throw kills him at that percent pretty much, right? So yeah, he's scary, but he's very bad, very bad matchup. Háblate de Sheik, me hubiera llegado a mainearla. Yo soy mega fan de Sheik, yo creo que Sheik está rotísima, mano. Pero hablemos de Sheik pues. So, by someone's subscription request, we're gonna do Sheik real quick. I know that some Pikachus think that matchup is awful. I think Sheik is insanely broken, and I think it's only plus 1. It's pretty much the same reason of like why Mithra is plus 1, right? It's the fact that she has to win neutral so many more times than us. And granted, that's the appeal of the character, right? They're like a neutral character, they don't mind having to win neutral so many more times. But Pikachu does have other things that make it harder for her to win neutral compared to other like non fast or like less range kind of characters than Sheik, right? Where like T-Jolt or like just our active moves like Fair, for example, sometimes outrange some of the Sheik's hitboxes, right? And she kind of struggles to hit like the shorter characters with like meaningful stuff. Um, and granted, like most of her frame data is incredibly safe, but since she has to do it so low to the ground to actually hit us, plus to make it safe, a lot of her stuff becomes very predictable to parry, right? And we just get a lot more damage immediately, and we kill her earlier. We can edge guard her, even if she does the recovery, like the up B that is on 2 frameable from above the ledge. Um, the startup of a hitbox is still vulnerable, so you kind of have to get like a 50-50 or like, okay, is she gonna recover high? Okay, I go early and hit her. Is she gonna recover low? I just 2-frame her, right? Um, she's also one of the characters, I really haven't talked about this concept much, but she's one of the characters that gets dragged down Nair or Fair or Backer into down air as a true punish if she doesn't have a double jump. So that's really cheesy. I did it to Rocks actually last time we played, the only time we played offline actually, at S Factor, and I think that's how I won the set actually. So yeah, like she has a good amount of gimmicks like side B to stall on the ledge, needle safety being ambiguous, um, but I don't think it's enough. Like it's more of a matchup check. I still think Sheik is such a broken character, but unfortunately Pikachu is broken for pretty much almost the same reasons with better attributes in the matchup, basically, right? Um, so yeah, it's tough for her for sure. Alrighty. Espero que te haya gustado, Tardus. Hola, Bocata de Pan, ¿cómo estás? The Android, what's up? Pikachu no tiene matchups en contra, ahora veremos, porque todavía faltan bastantes personajes. ¿Tiene el mejor frame data del juego si se juega bien? Sí, para mí tiene el mejor frame data del juego. ¿Prefieres que hable en el chat en inglés o en español? Como tú prefieras, yo voy a estar leyendo el chat poco a poco. Solo ahorita voy a estar como leyendo el chat muy de vez en cuando porque voy a seguir con personajes rápido para terminar la chart hoy. Fair downer is true on Sheik. It's not necessarily true, but since they don't have a double jump and they have to like recover immediately, since her up B, similar to Palutena, has vulnerability as the startup, we can just downer her before she recovers, right? It's just like a hard punish pretty much. Because she cannot air dodge, right? Like if she air dodges without a double jump while she's getting dragged down, she just gets spiked and dies. So yeah. ¿Podrías hacer Mario por fin? Si donas y te suscribes, puedo hacer a cualquier personaje fuera de orden. Fuera de eso lo voy a estar haciendo en orden. Pikachu being brokener. Pikachu broken as hell, dude. No, there's no document. But pretty much, if there's a character that you can drag down with without a double jump and their up B has a little bit of startup, so like Falco, like Fox, like Lucario, like who else? Palutena, like Sheik. All of those characters get fair drag down downer, for example. Alrighty, let's do it fast. King Rool. This character is very bad against Pikachu. He's very scary. I've definitely lost to K. Rool in the past. Mostly it was just due to like lack of matchup experience. I was not aware of how to deal with Crown as well as I needed to be. Spoiler alert, all you do is just you wait for the Crown, you roll through the Crown as if you were Mithra to like foresight it, but since the move has so much lag, you can roll past it and grab, right? That's how literally every character in the game deals with Crown. So it's like a fake pressure tool. It's good, right? It's definitely good, but like it's not the best. He gets edge guarded to hell, he gets hit by everything, he gets combo to hell, he gets ledge trapped, he gets juggled. You can like, since Pikachu's so small, you can just like parry Nair and like punish out of shield, it's fine. Or you can space on the back of the belly of the Nair and it doesn't have armor there. A lot of people don't know that. What else is there? Yeah, it's just like a really non-forgiving matchup. Like the projectile swinging is definitely annoying, but once you get past it, he's forced to play the game with you, and you just out of shield everything. You just pressure his shield with everything. It's really, really easy. All you need to worry about is not dying early to like the smash attacks or like dash attack. Dash attack is actually pretty good at covering ledges against Pikachu, just because of how much it lingers and how big it is. But other than that, dude, like spikes aren't really a thing because you go under the stage. He doesn't really juggle you. Like all you're worried is just not getting cheesed, right? And like killing him before you do. But if you know the matchup, if you know where your openings are, it's really simple, honestly. What else? Kirby. Kirby is, I will say, borderline 1.5, but just the character has such good frame data, like he can actually scrap super well with Pikachu. If he absorbs Pikachu, the matchup kind of becomes even, I would say, like almost even. So I would like maybe possibly you could say this +1 or even, but since getting the in-hill is so unpractical and unrealistic for Pikachu, or sorry for Kirby, it barely happens. So yeah, pretty much like all that happens is like okay, I have T-Jolt, and we're both about as good at scrapping. Like Kirby might have better frame data, but Pikachu outranges him. And gets more reward immediately because of like nair loops, and then advantage state is much better, right? Uh, so the main scary thing about Kirby is how much he kills off of stray hits, right? So a lot of the time he can just kind of mash on your face, but that's only if you like let him, right? Like he has to jump for that to happen, and then if he ever jumps, he's floaty enough that you can get under him and like play a juggle, right? You just have to be ready. But it's still scary, it's still losable. Character has really good 2 frame, so I really advise going under the stage every single time. Um, but other than that, yeah, like he gets juggled, he gets super guarded, he gets ledge trapped. It's just like he plays our same game, and he's surprisingly hard to punish a lot on like out of shield, for example, just because of his hurt block shifting or just raw frame data, right? But if you're down to just like reset neutral or like whiff punish him or like juggle him and call him out on like those type of small commitments, eventually we just out reward him, and also we kill him super duper early, right? I think I have like a perfect Kirby record offline with Gilhue, and then online I have a pretty close to perfect record. I've lost to JJ a few times, but I'm like 10-5 or like 2 or something against them, so it's fine. Alright, let's do Link. This matchup I used to not be experienced in, now I am, and I'm on the verge of it being +1.5, but I just think the character is just like too solid and hard to open up for it to be that bad. So I'm just gonna put it in +1, honestly. Like, it's, honestly, we could say this for literally all the Links, honestly. I'm just gonna put them all at the same time because we pretty much play the same matchup, right? I'm gonna go over like the differences briefly. But basically, they're all +1. They're all, like zoning characters with good projectiles. They just vary on like the way that they want to zone, right? Like Young Link is just projectile spam. Once you get into his burst range, he doesn't get to spam as many projectiles, so he now scraps, right? But his buttons aren't the best, right? Like he gets outranged, he gets parried because his timings are very predictable, and he's, in my opinion, probably the most fragile out of the 3, right? Like you send him off stage once or like in disadvantage once, and like if he's in a juggle state, he's always gonna downer or nair, right? So you just wait and parry or shield, you know? If you send him off stage, he's the one that has the least amount of recovery. Like even if his up beat goes the highest, it's very vertical, right? So he needs to like get under the stage and then recover like that. You can just grab ledge preemptively and drop down backer, right? Same for his Sair. Toon Link is honestly more of the same. He just has like better zoning, I would say, just because of the stray hits and like the lingeringness of his moves. And then Link obviously hits the hardest, but probably has the worst kind of projectile flowcharts. So honestly, all this matchup is for the 3 is just get close, pressure them so they are uncomfortable throwing projectiles because you're in their burst range, and then you hit them once and you just advantage state them to death, right? A lot of the appeal for these characters is just like the trapping that they have with like the multiple projectiles and like the bombs and stuff. But since you don't have a disadvantage, you can just get to reset neutral, pressure the projectile startup again over and over, and just avoid it, you know? Relevantly, you should know that you can spot dodge the last hit of the multi-hit up piece right here. So you can get a clean punish against them, like a dash attack or like a grab, for example. And against Link, you should know that if you cross him up with the pancake hitboxes, so like cross up nair, cross up backer, cross up fair, his up B doesn't hit on like the pancake, so you can just abuse on his shield really well. So yeah, it's just annoying. It's just like an annoying, very losable matchup for sure. But if you know what you're doing and you don't get desperate, wait for your openings, you're eventually naturally gonna get more out of it, and you're naturally gonna get more openings than him. That's pretty much what it is. ¿Qué dice, Andrick? ¿Cómo estás? Sí, soy el pelonless Pikachu player. Así es. ¿Cómo estás, amigo guapo? El popuerto. ¿Qué es lingering? ¿Que duran mucho tiempo los hitboxes? ¿Es neta o estás baiteándome? Is Kirby T-Jolt better than Pika T-Jolt in a vacuum? I feel like Kirby's has less enda, but I could be wrong. I think they have the same frame data, but Kirby is so floaty that he just gets to shoot multiple in the air, right? Do you think it's optimal to time out Kirby with Pika? So timeouts are weird. Timeouts, like, I'm not ever thinking about timing anyone at 0. Like, it's literally just like I'm playing the game passively to not give them easy openings, and then if the game results in like a super long-term kind of win condition, then I will time them out, you know. But usually games end up finishing earlier unless the other player also decides to do the same thing, like Lima Bayonetta or like Sonic, right? So yeah, like even Doc, for example, you obviously could time him out, but like just running away gives up so much pressure, gives up so many whiff punishes that I think it's better to just like keep pressuring and eventually like get small openings. And if you see that the Doc stops committing as much, then they're slow. They have to catch up to you, right? So if you have a big ass lead, you can just keep focusing on like whiff punishing and get very natural openings like that, you know. Qué loco que Bayo está cerca de Yun. Es por lo del timeout. Ese personaje caga daño. Dr. Mario Loki not bad versus Pika. It's not. Like, he's probably +1. I might move him at the end of the chart. But it all depends on, like, if you're getting edge guards, right? And if he goes high, a lot of time it's hard to send him off stage again without his double jump, just because he covers himself really well with the nair. Like, it's really hard to beat Doc's nair without trading with my own upper, right? And like honestly, like in neutral, he might literally have the best set of neutral tools in the game against Pikachu. Like Loki even better than Ness in Game & Watch, maybe, just because of like reflector, out of shield, stray hits, on shield, save frame data, kill power. It's all good. It's all really fucking good. Trust me. I literally think I'm the player with the most Pikachu Doc experience, maybe Doc experience in the entire world, dude. Yeah. If Doc had a better recovery, would he beat Pikachu? I could definitely see it, honestly. I think it would most likely just be even, just because it would become like such a timeout matchup. But since games end up like finishing early because he kills me early or like I gamed him, they end up not being timeouts, you know. Alright. ¿Cuánto tenías en hacer stream, loco? ¿Toda una vida? Pues ahora ya llevo una semana haciendo 3 streams, entonces... Pero antes de eso sí, como 11 meses más o menos. Caso ya le gana a Pikachu, me lo dijo el loquito del centro. Cap. Pero los Pikachu son muy malos en esa matchup, de lo que he visto. A ver. Si está abajo el gato de Incineroar, aquí están todos los personajes. Los voy a dejar ahí a la vista. Bueno. Again, I'm going in order. If you want to see me talk about your character, feel free to donate or subscribe. Alrighty. Let's keep on going. Little Mac. Yeah, this matchup's +2. Actually, dude. Yeah, no, that matchup's +2. It's just awkward. Like, a lot of things Little Mac has are surprisingly anti-Pika. But more than anything, it's just like a very cheesy matchup, right? It's like, he has frame 1 combo breakers. He is surprisingly sometimes hard to edgeguard, just because, like, if you decide to edgeguard him and he decides to side B at the same time, the side B hitbox is obviously gonna beat you out, right? But you can just trade with your down air anyways, and it's fine. Breaking the neutral B armor is uncomfortable. It's very, I guess, non-intuitive for normal game plan sake, but like you can just down air it, right? Like every single time. And then the way that Little Macs like to deal with T-Jolt, which I'm just gonna preface, like T-Jolt is supposed to be like an anti-ground kind of option, right? Like it just doesn't let people play on the ground. The way that Macs like to play or deal against T-Jolt is by mashing smash attacks. And honestly, if you're just expecting a smash attack, you just whiff punish and send them off stage, right? So, yeah, no, this matchup's very bad. But again, don't feel bad if you lose it. It's very losable. We're a fragile character, and this character hits incredibly hard, right? And I would say, like, as long as you ban, like, Smashville and, like, PS2 for 2 frames, pretty much just choose when to play neutral against the character, right? So, yeah. Alrighty, Lucario. Dude, Lucario. Oh, man, I really despise this matchup. And honestly, dude, I am not opposed to putting it here. Let me think about this real quick. See, in theory, the tools just like interacting with each other are very much in Pikachu's favor. Like Pikachu just gets to whiff punish him, outrange him, outpoke him. Um, Lucario's counterplay to T-Jolt is the counter, but the counter is unsafe on shield. You can just quick attack every single time, or drop shield dash attack, or back air, or whatever. Um, and also Aura Sphere, right? It's like a charge shot, and charge shots are universally known to be good against T-Jolt. But honestly, like, it's a very hit or miss matchup. Like, if you ever kill Lucario and you have a solid lead, like let's say you kill him and you are at 60 with a stock lead, you can literally stop approaching. Like, you can literally go under the stage all the time and you just automatically win. Like, it's that brain dead. But if that's not the case, if the character takes your first stock or you're playing like a last hit scenario, it's so realistic to die at 40% or 30%. Like, it's happened to me many times, dude. It's so annoying. So just because of that, I'm gonna say +1 or even. But if the matchup, like, if I were to sit down and grind this matchup and consistently like do that game plan, I think you would probably realize that it's +1. Because, yeah, like, even if we're down and even if Lucario has a lot of aura, we can still make interactions happen with T-Jolt. With, like, even if he counters, even if he does Aura Sphere or whatever, he still has to deal with T-Jolt. And then if he counters it and we shield it, it's not gonna break our shield, like, unless it's like super low. So we just get like constant punishes or like things of like his flowchart, like make him uncomfy basically, right? He definitely gets edge guarded. He's one of the characters that gets dragged down aired for sure. You can just rinse repeat back your edge guards against him because he doesn't have a hitbox until the end of his recovery. What else? He gets two-framed a lot. He probably has the worst two-frame with Pichu in the entire game, so Forward Tilt is good at two-framing him. He definitely gets juggled a ton. He gets ledge trapped unless he has Aura Sphere, in which case you just shield, take the Aura Sphere when he regrabs, and then ledge trap again. Like, he really doesn't have like a consistently good game plan against Pikachu. He's just literally the cheesiest character in the game against Pikachu, because unlike other top tiers, we don't really have the ability to kill early besides like edge guards. So if we don't get the edge guards early, we have to play against like cheesy as Lucario, right? So honestly, thinking about it, I'm gonna say it's +1. It's probably +1. You just want to be like super careful about like some specific moves. Alright, I'll do 2 more and then I'll rechat. Lucas, I will say, is probably +1 or even. Just because that character can wall us out like super duper well. And just the absorb thing is really annoying, right? He's really hard to open up actually. Like, just the fact that Lucas is constantly walling, constantly going backwards while zoning, and like, he definitely does get advantage stated to hell. Like, he actually might have one of the worst disadvantage states against Pikachu. But also his kill power while walling us is very, very extreme, right? A lot of his scrapping needs, or like, leads us to us having to like reset neutral. And since it's a very kind of pokey kind of matchup, because like, the only percent where you just like kind of immediately shit on him is like low percent, because you get like any single hit and it leads into nair loops, right? But then at like mid percent or like high percent, we're both just kind of poking at each other, right? Obviously Pikachu does have the better mobility, but even then, like, if we're both poking at each other, I poke with fair, but then he does another fair, we are gonna trade and it's gonna be so much more in his favor. He kills us a lot earlier, you know. He has kill throws, he has the zoning retreating PK fire, which can be punished. Like, if you predict that they're gonna do a PK fire, you can literally just jump above the PK fire in quick attack at that exact moment and you get a free punish. But it's a read, it's not like a consistent counterplay kind of thing, right? But what I will say is that if you ever get a lead in the matchup, which is very feasible since you have the better ability, so you have the choice to like, okay, I'm just gonna retreat and whiff punish, retreat and whiff punish. Okay, circle camp, or like quick attack to the other side of the stage and reset neutral. And then you call them out or they make a mistake and you whiff punish them. It just snowballs super badly for him, you know. So I think just attributes wise, it's probably +1. I don't mind putting it in +1. I might move it later. But for now, I think I'm gonna leave it here. Like, he definitely is one of the characters that has the most annoying tools against Pikachu. Pikachu used to think this was a much worse matchup just because of like the two framing, which he does have one of the best two framings in the game. You just go under the stage every single time. You guys know this at this point. And then lastly, Lucina, she's just +1. Like, unlike Cloud, she doesn't have the ability to hit T-Yield without commitments, just because her sword is much shorter and her landing aerials have a lot more lag. So it's pretty much the same matchup as Cloud, pretty much, except Lucina has more of a combo game. So she can poke underground with like down tilt or like forward tilt, for example, to just like wall our approaches, right? But I think the amount of dynamic pressure and movement that Cloud has and that Lucina lacks is pretty much like the thing that makes this matchup much worse, because she does have to deal with T-Jolt very head on, right? And there's so many more chances for Lucina to mess up. And also, like, even though she's less edge guardable than Cloud in theory for most characters, I would argue that they're both about as edge guardable, if the opponent is good enough, obviously, right? But in exchange, Lucina is much more juggleable, just because she's like a lot more floaty. Her downer doesn't linger and doesn't give her like that much reward, you know. And also her out of shield is pretty much only like up B, where Cloud's out of shield, which is up B and up smash, both hurtbox shift upwards and hit like pretty much everything really well. Whereas Lucina can only up B like landing aerials, for example, and sometimes not even that. Sometimes I've seen Nair pancake under the Lucina up B, which is kind of crazy to say actually. But yeah, it's literally like another worse Cloud in the matchup for sure. Alrighty, let me read the chat a little bit. Pone a Steve, estoy yendo en orden. Si quieres que yo ponga a Steve, me puedes donar o suscribirte. Pero si no, estoy yendo en orden. Is it easier to two-frame on PS2? No, but we don't have the ability to go under the stage. So against characters that two-frame me, or characters like Lucina, for example, that have like a arc that covers like a general area very actively with a killing hitbox, like Packer or Downer, I tend to ban PS2 because they can just grab ledge preemptively and do rising backer and hit me with that, you know. Whereas in other stages, I can just go under the stage and ignore that completely. I don't understand how this matchup is that hard. Which one, dude? Está buena dando info, pero no entiendo nada. Si quieres preguntar, me dices. Ahí luego lo voy a repetir en español. Solo ahorita primero. Esto es para YouTube, ¿verdad? Did you see the Pikachu counter and Beefy Smash Dudes? Oh, yeah, I literally just tweeted about it yesterday, because we found it on Me Sword Fighter, which was a very unedge guardable character, actually. Espero estés bien, felices fiestas a ti también, Rudy. Espero que la pases bien. Y Starforce, thank you for the Prime. I didn't see it at the time, damn. Thank you so much. Is there a character that you want me to talk about? Let me know. Amazing, que dice Tupac, ¿cómo estás? Isaac, bienvenidos. Violet's only 1.5, no -2. She's just very cheesy and has very good walling hitboxes and active pressure against Pikachu. Like, she can, more than the characters below, safely cheese out games against Pikachu. But it's very bad. Like, it's very, very bad. I don't disagree with you. Like, these are the matchups that I would already consider a secondary for. And these are just, if the Pikachu is not stupid and studied before, like, they shouldn't lose ever, pretty much. A ver. It's interesting that all the links perform the same against Pikachu. That's what I think, yeah. I think if one does better, it might be Toon Link. Probably. Just because of the stray hit walling. Dude, I love the song. Are they revealing the top 10 at LMBM or the whole 150? It's only the top 10. ¿Puedes tradear con el downer con el obby de Lucina? Sí, justo cuando ella está subiendo al final ya no tiene tanta invencibilidad. De hecho ya no tiene invencibilidad. O en el 2-frame. Entonces, si tradeamos, puede ser el downer que la spikea, o va a ser el downer que la mande off stage, ¿verdad? Y eso está súper a nuestro favor. Do you think Cloud is the best sword against Pika? Definitely, yes. Pac-Man, please? Okay, I will do Pac-Man. Let me just finish reading the comments. When I fight a Pikachu, I just want to cry for real. It's a lot of retreating pressure. You just have to reset neutral a ton against Pikachu. But trust me, like, it's not that horrible of a matchup. So good against Ike. I think I'm the best Pika against Ike. But also, yeah, it's because I had so much experience against Haunter. I have a question for you. Yeah, shoot me with it. Why he can time T-Jolt on the side B every single time? Yeah. Very, very relevant in the matchup. I have a Pikachu player that famously hates the plant matchup. Some people laugh at him. I wonder if you agree. I agree. No, that matchup is very annoying and not that bad for Pikachu at all. Trust me. Don't laugh at your friend. Tell him I support him. That matchup is very incredibly awkward. And like, why would a Pikachu study a plant unless that's one relevant in the region, right? It's also why Spargo beat me with plant that one time. I've never studied that character, and he knows the matchup with the back of his hand. Like, he's literally the best player in the world against Pikachu, so it makes sense that he can do it with plant. Like, if I'm not able to execute the things that make Pikachu win the matchup, then why would you, like, not lose the matchup, you know? How does Yoshi do against Pika? I'm going in order, but I can tell you that Yoshi probably loses. How much would you charge for 1 hour versus viewers? I'm starting a series where top players play my peeps. I mean, probably the same that I would charge in my Metafy. If you want, you can DM me on Discord. It's ShinyMark1. Or, like, at the end of the stream, I can check. But, I mean, 1 hour of playing... Like, I guess that would be, like, a first to 10, maybe? Like, maybe a little bit more. So, yeah, just... If you want to check my Metafy, I'd probably just charge the same thing. Do you think Pika is top 2? I think he's top 2 in theory, yeah. What's the minimum dono for a character request? You can just donate anything, dude. But I don't know, I guess the subscription rate, which is like $5, I think? Or like $2.50? I'm not sure. I'd argue Marth is the best player against Pikachu, but you're probably right. No, it's definitely Spargo. I played Marth. We played friendlies at the Lumi Invitational, and even though they weren't like super serious friendlies. I mean, I was also like not super tryharding. I could tell like he wasn't either. But a lot of stuff that like I was winning is what I'm trying to say. Who do you put first? And who? Like the links? Pika better than Sonic or Game & Watch? They're pretty much interchangeable, I would say. Who's top 1? Steve. It's definitely Steve, yeah. Alrighty, let's keep it going. Let's go through Pac-Man because someone donated. I think Pac-Man is our second even matchup. There's been a recent optimization that's really annoying, which is Shore Hop Side B against T-Jolt. So if the Pac-Man does this, like, it's very annoying because they can just like Shore Hop Side B landing there after the pellet is dropped or like cancelled from the T-Jolt, right? So, like, it just essentially is like a really good anti-T-Jolt tool, right? So now we're stuck fighting against a character that is just constantly zoning against us and has really good scrapping buttons, honestly. If I were to give someone a bit of an edge, I would say it's Pikachu, just because Pac-Man gets out-mobilityed and out-frame data and a lot of the time. But also like the kill potential and random damage that the character shits out is crazy for sure. But if the Pikachu super knows the matchup, and can shut down most of the brain dead set play game plan things that Pac-Man has, in theory Pikachu can just run away. Like, you get a lead, you get a... Like, getting stocks against Pac-Man is very practical, honestly. Like, besides like our normal killing, which is dash attack or like nair setups, like his out of shield is really good, so that's like not super relevant. But you can still poke his shield, eventually get a shield poke. And just from any type of advantage state, like even him setting up Hydrant, if you know that you can hit Hydrant with the upper, make the Hydrant clank, and then still hit Pac-Man through the Hydrant, or juggle him afterwards, now he's going to be in a juggle. So he gets juggled to hell because his down air is not good. He gets edge guarded if you know how to do it, because at the end of the side B he doesn't have as much armor. At the start of the side B, obviously he has to charge it, so he needs a little bit of startup. You can go all the way down there and either hit the pellet or hit him. He doesn't have armor when he grabs this ledge, so when the 2-frame, right? So you can just 2-frame down to him as well. And also if he ever up Bs, he just should be automatically dead. You can like air dodge through him and like jump on the trampoline, then just air dodge twice on the trampoline and make him immediately have to like die, you know? Or you can do the same. And like obviously if he only has to up B like directly to the ledge, then he's probably gonna be fine. But at that point, like he got it. You didn't exert enough pressure to send him off stage, you know? So I think in theory it's much more practical for Pikachu to win the matchup in theory. but in practice, it's very awkward, it's very hard, and we haven't seen a Pikachu play this matchup correctly. I think if I played T and I prepared, I would probably win, I'm not gonna lie. But I definitely need to prepare much more than he will need to, for sure. I would love to play him in the near future, for sure. And also, if you ever grab fruit and you have a lead, you literally just circle camp. Like, what is he gonna do? Ever? Nothing. You just time him out for free. Oh, and also, like, the best way to break Hydrant is either T-Jolt forward tilt, T-Jolt down tilt, or down tilt forward tilt. Or forward tilt down tilt, depending on what angle you want. That's pretty much it. Alright, let's keep it going. Luigi, definitely +1. That matchup. Alright, quick course on like how to beat Luigi, because I think this is the thing that most Pikas suck at, and honestly, like most players in the world suck at against Luigi. The Luigi Sarah, right? Broken ass move, insanely good move, obviously. But it's, well, there's not an animation actually, but pretty much if you aim to hit him diagonally here, even if he's landing, like every single time that you're juggling Luigi and he's gonna land, you have to pay attention to if he's facing you, okay? If he is actually facing you, what is he gonna do? Like 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, he will land with Sair. That's literally what they do, right? If they're fighting with their back towards you, then you can just be more disrespectful and hit him with like a dash attack with punish, or like up B, or like with the down B, whatever. But if he's gonna land while facing you, or like is playing neutral and he's facing you and he's about to land, he's gonna Sair like 10 times out of 10, okay? So what do? You hit him diagonally here, or even if he does it high up and the Sair is still like higher up than your move, Pikachu Fair will clank with it, it will beat it, and it will then hit Luigi. So their best neutral tool, their most broken neutral tool, shouldn't really reversal you ever, and you just get a lot of free openings out of it, you know, just because like Luigi's disadvantage is so limited. Like they're only really gonna down B if they're about to land on the platform or if they're about to land on the ground. So if you bait these out effectively, or like condition them to like start doing that, you know, any single hit that you put them off stage or like in disadvantage could lead into their death. Like their disadvantage is just that bad. They get incredibly edge guarded, they get incredibly juggled, they get ledge trapped, and they don't have any type of advantage state against us. So all you do in this matchup is you respect Sair and you know how to deal with it, and then you have the tools to like fully never have to interact with Luigi. Last time I lost against Waka, it was first because he's the best Luigi in the matchup by far. I think he got coached by Spark as well, but also we just played so many times, right? And second off, I was a little bit out of practice. I wasn't like super confident in my gameplay still. That was like while I was still busy with school and stuff, so I couldn't like super practice, right? And also I wasn't playing the matchup right. Like if you saw that set, I got grabbed like 12 times at 0 and I died. That should not happen. Like I should just like be platform camping or like T-jolting, or like the entire goal of the matchup is to not get hit by grab, right? That's the literally only thing that you have to do, and it's very realistic for Pikachu to do. Like you don't have to fish for interactions. T-jolt will do the work for you, and then you just poke at center stage pretty much, right? Make sure to hit his shield safely, because his out of shield is actually quite good against Pikachu with up smash and with up B. But other than that, like any single hit that you put Luigi in disadvantage might kill him. But it's only +1 just because of how cheesy he is and how good his frame data is. So he effectively can still outplay you and like get a super early kill. That's pretty much what the matchup is. One of the cheesiest, most variable matchups in the game, but fortunately if we decide to play it right and disciplined, we should just like out neutral him like most of the time and out reward him, you know? It's very similar to Kazuya in that aspect. No problem, Star Force. Would you like to play Raru one day? Of course, I want to beat everyone. Like my goal in Smash is not even to be top 1 Lumi rank, because I acknowledge that I'm never going to. Just because I don't have the resources. Like I'm not going to be able to travel, I'm not going to be able to like spam tournaments in Japan, for example. I don't have a team right now. So all I want to do is, while lurking and going to the tournaments that I can, like the majors and the super majors that are left, to be able to show up and still beat the top 4 players, like Akola, Sonics, Mia, and Spargo. And I know I can beat all of them. Like I just need to go do more stuff. But yeah, like I really don't care about Lumi rank, and I want to play against everyone. I want to play against Raru, I want to play against Hurt, Toriguri, all the Japanese guys for sure. Alrighty, ShinyMark, Twitch matchmaking. This is fire, dude. Alrighty, Mario. Mario is even. It's literally more of Dr. Mario, but it's funny because you might think it's just like everything is strictly better, but the fact that Mario's out of shield isn't as punishing, you can disrespect him a little bit more, and also like just poking at the general space of where Mario is, you can be so much more disrespectful because Mario hits so much less hard than Dr. Mario, right? But honestly, it's really just more of the same in the matchup, really. Like, his reflector is honestly worse, because you can, since he cannot like shore hop side B, you can just jump over the reflected T-Jolt and punish him consistently every single time. So it's much, much worse. The frame data is definitely more important. It's better for Mario. Like, for example, with Dr. Mario backer, you can usually punish it out of shield. Mario's backer, you cannot, but since the timing is so predictable, parrying is a lot more relevant against Mario, honestly. And also, Dr. Mario's grab game is honestly better, more punishing against Pika, unless you're at like the prime ladder percent below a platform or something. But even in that case, Pikachu can still DI the combos well enough to get out of the situations. The main thing that changes is just the character has better neutral, and like if they decide to play slower, they are definitely a lot harder to like open up consistently. Flood is good at resetting neutral in the matchup as well. But honestly, they're still edge guardable. They're more juggleable, like way more juggleable than Dr. Mario, just because their nair doesn't have to be respected, right? And also they have a harder time killing than Dr. Mario. So honestly, dude, I wouldn't even mind putting this matchup here nowadays. But I just think Mario is just too solid of a character in the matchup not to be about even, pretty much. I think a lot of Marios still don't play the matchup correctly nowadays, because they think like they can just like mash hitboxes and out-trade Pikachus, but then they play me and they just lose, you know? Because I'm like, what I'm doing is just I'm like constantly out-maneuvering them, I'm constantly baiting burst range, and then if they whiff something, funnily enough, Pikachu up tilt and up air just outrange his stuff, and it gets me either like an air loop or like a juggle, so it's pretty good, you know? Alright. Estoy de acuerdo, bocata de pan. Alrighty, Marth. Marth and Lucina pretty much do about the same in the matchup. Honestly, like Marth, all he does is like he does get really consistent tippers against Pikachu, I will say. But pretty much, like it's either you want to cheese Pikachu earlier because the side B tippers are actually very consistent against Pikachu, just because if like their third box shifting is very consistent. And also like since you're probably gonna be zoning constantly, then a lot of tippers are gonna hit where Lucina wouldn't. You know, like Lucina's still gonna space in the matchup, but now there's a tipper in play, right? But on the other hand, there's also gonna be like very micro scenarios where you just like get a small read or like call out someone in the air with Lucina, right? And then having something like raw killing Lucina up air or like back air without spacing is so valuable, right? Same for like edge guards and stuff. I think they do about the same, honestly. That's not relevant enough to be a different matchup. And I just want to say, both these characters are broken. And just, like, there's no reason to really use Marth. Or, like, to pick up Marth at this point. But I know that if there was, like, a top player Marth, would be scary. People would realize how good this character is. But late meta, I don't think anyone's going to show it at this point. Alright, Mega Man. Mega Man has a decent matchup against Pikachu. Like, he's just annoying more than anything, but like a lot of what he does is just like pestering in neutral, and it doesn't do enough damage. And once Pikachu gets in, which by the way, like since Mega Man's whole neutral thing is like zoning horizontally with the pellets, right? Eventually Pikachu can get in diagonally with like Fair, and like Fair eats through the pellets. So eventually you get like one random hit, and Mega Man is so comboable. Like he gets nair looped, he gets upper bridged, he gets juggled, he gets edge guarded, he gets ledge trap. Like, Mega Man's disadvantage is actually quite bad against Pikachu. One of Mega Man's best tools is Leaf Shield, and a lot of people don't know how to deal with Leaf Shield. Generally, you need lingering moves, lingering active moves, because those moves are going to clank with the leaves of the Leaf Shield, and Pikachu has a bunch of those, so you can just disrespect Mega Man as soon as you see it. So yeah, that's pretty much, it's a very, very simple matchup. T-Jolt isn't really much of a factor in this matchup because they're just like mashing projectiles, but there's sometimes where like if nothing's really happening in neutral, there's really no reason why like you shouldn't throw it, because sometimes you get lucky and the arc of the T-Jolt goes over like the pellet, and still gets you a little bit of chip damage, like 6%, right? So if you're like playing far range and nothing's really happening, then you might as well throw a T-Jolt. And sometimes they're gonna realize like, oh, okay, the Pikachu's close enough, I'm gonna have to shield. The T-Jolt is coming, and now you get like free pressure, right? Their out of shield really isn't the best. Like they have fast out of shield, but it's so small and so spaceable that you can just space a fair, space a down tilt, and never get up smashed out of shield. And on the contrary, like Mega Man doesn't really. I think his fair is the safest thing that he has, and fair is crazy. Like that move is insane, but it's -6, and Pikachu's nair out of shield is frame 6, so it's just enough for us to like always punish it out of shield, right? So yeah, tough matchup, honestly. I think there's definitely some things that the Megamans could do better. Like, I've never gotten like footstool punished out of shield by a Megaman, and I've played a bunch of good Megamans. I've never played Peanut, I should say that. But yeah, I just think that if both sides know the matchup well enough, you can just tell that the attributes of both characters, Pikachu just ends up like out rewarding. Okay. ¿Qué game plan debería utilizar Mario en el matchup? Pues es mucho de estar waleando con golpes de un golpe. O sea, porque si tu backer de Mario tradea con mi fair de Pikachu, te vas a comer 5%. O, perdón, te vas a comer como 1% de mi fair, porque va a ser solo un golpe. En cambio, tu backer sí me va a hacer 11%, por ejemplo, o 10%, ¿verdad? Entonces, es mucho de eso y estar waleando con hitboxes que son mejores que los de Pikachu. Pero Pikachu tiene mejor movilidad. Entonces, si Mario decide tomar un riesgo, Pikachu puede salir del camino y punisharte muy seguido. Pero cuando Mario te pega, a Pikachu no le importa tanto porque no lo combeas tan duro. Pero cuando Pikachu te pega a Mario, sí importa más porque el advantage state es muy consistente. Entonces vas a mandar a Mario a Juggle, a Offstage, a Ledge Trapping y así. Básicamente. Doesn't Pika get crazy combos with Metal Blade? I've never done any like super crazy combos. I pretty much only stick to simple stuff like Metal Blade into dash attack, Metal Blade dash grab down air or something. Yeah, no, I've never done anything crazy. I know Pikachu does get like very crazy combos with Gyro. That's the thing. It might be the same now they mention it. Maybe like the Gyro Nair loops are the same as Metal Blade Nair loops. I should try that actually. ¿Qué dice Draco? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenido. Dude, I love water. Alright, I'm not judging anyone, but I've heard there's a lot of people, dude, that don't like the taste of water. And I'm surprised at that, because I realize that it doesn't taste like anything. But, dude, cold water, man? How can you not like a glass of cold water at night? Like, what? And also, I've met people that literally only drink like soda and don't drink water. And then they feel like shit. And it's like, okay, I'm sure you realize why. But like, you should take care of yourself, man. But I'm not judging. I'm not judging, man. I used to be like such a soda kind of guy, but I eventually like kind of got out of the addiction, I guess, by drinking diet soda and just like taking sips to like get that need out of my system and then just keep drinking water and stuff. But yeah, those people are insane. We're not judging. We're not judging. But yeah, they're kind of insane actually. It's probably just something that they grew up with and now it's a habit now that they're grown-ups and it's hard to replace for sure. That's true, water has different tastes for sure. Cold water, dude, fucking crazy. Qué chistoso se ve el ingeniero Perú en tu borde del ópera. Oh shit, no me di cuenta que eso estaba ahí. Este es el secreto de los Wi-Fi brackets, amigos. De hecho, así los encuentro. Para que lo sepan. Igual Hazard, ahí está. Water isn't the same taste depending how much minerals and which one are in it. That makes sense, yeah. Creo que Camé me hizo una mancha y puso que era paso uno para Sora. Luego vamos a ver qué opina él. Pero nunca hemos jugado, y creo que nunca vamos a jugar. ¿Qué dice Clyde? ¿Cómo estás? Where do you place Luigi on the tier list? I don't think he's better than Kazuya, is what I will say. But he's solid. He's very good. He's definitely improved. Raru has definitely like he definitely has risen the perspective of the character in the meta, but I don't think he's more than the bottom of high tier, I will say. He's very extreme. Like he's probably the most polarizing, most toxic or second most toxic character in the game with like Kazuya. But his attributes are horrible, like awful. It's just the reward is so immediately maximum that it's very easy to see like why he's broken, not like why he's bad, you know. Ya hasta ahora usa Sheik, creo, ya no tiene representación ahora teniendo tanto potencial. Sora, teniendo tanto potencial. Está Rarkior, pero no le he visto mucho, la verdad. Pero sí, Kameme es papa, entonces, prioridades definitivamente, amigos. ¿Qué dices, Nax? Ay, es mi GOAT, ¿cómo estás? Hermosísimo, cómo te extraño. Ese es mi puto GOAT. Ey, gracias por los consejos. La verdad es que varias cositas que me dijiste ahorita y en el último tweet que hace como 10 meses que hice me ayudaron mucho a tener como confianza para empezar. Entonces, te quiero un montón, te mando un abrazo y espero que estés muy bien. Que os paso bonitas fiestas. Mis dos monos no han salido. A media hora falta para mi Robbie Pit. Ya pronto, ya pronto. Ok, solo denme responder un mensaje rapidito. Todo bien, mi bro. Aquí siempre para apoyarte. Me gusta que mis amigos prosperen más. Snake mejor que Pika, o Snake le gana a Pika. Aunque ambas de esas están incorrectas. Pero te mando un abrazo. Bueno, let's keep going. Meta Knight. Let's do Meta Knight now. I I have a ton of experience in this matchup, surprisingly, between Jay when he used to go to Central American tournaments, and also Mazo. He just enters literally everything online. I used to think it was even just because Meta Knight used to edgeguard me, or like the Meta Knight used to edgeguard me and two-frame me constantly. He has very lingering hitboxes, very good hitboxes against Pikachu. But then I realized I can just go under the stage. And now Meta Knight really doesn't have any strength in the matchup because he gets out neutraled, he gets juggled, he gets edge guarded, he gets ledge trapped. He has a lot of gimmicks on the ledge, but remember, kids, mi abuelo siempre decía, my grandpa always says, if the opponent has special options on the ledge against your Pika, just mash T-Jolt on the ledge, and it will literally beat everything. Like, of course, it's not gonna be a dash attack or like a forward smash, but it's free chip damage, you know. So you're not forced to play mix-ups, and you keep stage control, so it's fine. Um, and then on the contrary, Meta Knight doesn't really juggle us. Meta Knight doesn't really get to ladder us. Like, sure, he might get some ladders, but if you play the matchup correctly and you are try-harding to win, you just camp on the corner, DI dash attack out, and he literally gets nothing. Now you're out of ladder percent and you never die. You don't get edge guarded, you don't get juggled. Sometimes you get ledge trapped. His nair is good. His disjoints are okay, like backer. But what I'm trying to say is he's also light, right? And he gets comboed by nair very well. He gets upper bridged. Last time we played with Mazo, I think it was actually not last time, but like 2 tournaments ago, he was about to beat me. I think I was playing the matchup kind of poorly as well, but he was playing exceptionally well. And I cheesed him. I was at 90% and he was at 25 or 30. I grabbed him, upper bridged him, because I read his DI online and he died. It was DIN even, so it's like, what else is there, dude? Yeah, this matchup is very solid for us. It's just a very fast, very solid character, so he can still pressure Pikachu, and it's kind of scary. But a lot of his stuff is also very unsafe on shield or easy to parry. Particularly Nair is easy to parry. And his Tomahawks really don't have much value, right? Like, it doesn't get like crazy grab combos or damage. So, yeah. Mewtwo. Dude, I played this matchup with Wadi before he was banned. And like, I don't know much about this matchup. I really want to play it with Anvil because I know that he is a very big studier of the game. And I know he's very, very good. But just thinking about this matchup, the reason why Mewtwo used to beat Pikachu in Smash 4 was because of how much more overtuned he was and how much he could maneuver with like air dodge on the stage. Now Mewtwo is just like a big ass light character with a huge tail that doesn't have good out of shield. So Pikachu as long as you like maneuver around Shadow Ball well, which Shadow Ball is broken for sure, you just get to like pressure him infinitely, like for free. Just like poke at him, shield poke him. Like shield poking him is so free because he's huge. Yo, Sen, thank you so much for the raid, dude. Hope you're doing well. Hope your stream went well. Are you still doing the win streaks, bro? Yeah, welcome everyone. We're doing this matchup chart, and yo, Sen, I know you've been an advocate for Ness being even for the longest time. I know I got you, bro. It's been a while since I've been saying this, but the Pikas were always bad in this matchup. But yeah. Oh, and one of the biggest things in the Mewtwo matchup as well is that Pikachu's again despises reflectors for some reason, right? But Pikachu can literally just, if it's a reflector that's not like actionable, like Fox or like Wolf reflector, you just T-jolt, run behind the T-jolt, jump above the reflected T-jolt, and then you just landing there, landing fair or quick attack, and just whiff punish, get like so much reward, you know. So yeah, it's very good matchup. Mewtwo gets 2-frame, Mewtwo gets edge guarded normally, Mewtwo gets incredibly ledge trap, like it's crazy. Mewtwo gets incredibly juggled, and then Mewtwo doesn't get to 3-frame us because we recover below the stage. Doesn't get to edge guard us, doesn't get to juggle us, doesn't get to... He ledge traps us a little bit because of Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is actually quite good at doing that. But it's a preemptive kind of ledge trap option, you know? So, yeah, it's very solid matchup. It's just annoying because we die early, but that's just Pika in a nutshell, right? Neutral characters in a nutshell. Alrighty. Me, Brawler. Isam and I both agreed that this is +1. It's just literally the Fox matchup, but he is a little bit of a grappler with slightly raw killing options, right? It's literally just that. We played with Isam offline once. It was at Xenopause, and I beat him. Granted, I didn't know the matchup, and he probably did know the matchup a lot more. And I think he SD'd there, so it wasn't the best set, but I could still tell like that matchup is good. I played Osh 9 like a billion times online. I never lost to him, I think. And yeah, no, it just feels comfy. Like the buttons that are supposed to be safe, like in air, for example, in air is such a godsend move. Since you're small, you can just fish for parries eventually, right, and hit him. We, funnily enough, outrange me Brawler, and again, it's a character where we have T-Jolt like available to us. So even if they're more mobile than us, T-Jolt limits their movement so much and the way that they want to set up their moves so much that pretty much we dictate the pace of the match at all times, you know? So yeah. Wolfen, gracias por el sub. ¿Cómo estás, amigo? Bienvenido. ¿Qué dice? ¿Es el mero Wolfen? ¿Es el Wolfen papá de El Salvador? ¿Cómo estás, amigo? Alright, let me just answer a DM real quick. Viendo un poco de buen Smash, papito, con usted, ¿qué dice, Wolfen? Gracias. Si hay un personaje del que quieras que hable, me dices. Si no, estaré yendo en orden todo el tiempo, ¿verdad? El Shiny, ¿qué dice? Shaggy Rash, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenido. Alrighty, let's do me Gunner. I still remember when Capitancito beat me at Smash World Tour. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I had never played a decent me Gunner at that point. But this is probably like the hardest mid-tier to learn how to beat, just because of how much is going on in the screen. And also he has surprisingly good buttons. Like Nair is just Cloud Nair, Fair is the projectile that's disjointed, Backer is incredibly safe in kills. The missile beats T-Jolt, eats T-Jolt, right? And also the down B also interacts with T-Jolt and eats the T-Jolt, right? But if you know how to deal with like every single gimmick, and pretty much like what you do is just you get into burst range, you pressure him so he doesn't feel comfortable throwing missiles, because if they do, we can just jump over and punish them. Then he's stuck scrapping against you, and he cannot circle camp anymore, right? And then the down B grenades you can just knock back. If he doesn't use the grenade, he's gonna use the which grenades are broken, by the way. That down B is incredibly broken. But if he's not using that, he's not gonna have as good of a neutral and as good as ledge trapping, by instead using his absorb kind of projectile, which T-Jolt isn't really the reason why we win the matchup anyways, right? Um, what else? Character gets super juggled, character gets edge guarded. It's a little bit annoying because the recovery is surprisingly flexible, but since we have lingering hitboxes, it's still very possible to just rinse repeat edge guards against him, right? Um, gets ledge trap for sure. He just has a weird normal getup in terms of timing, but if you learn it, you'll be fine. Um, and yeah, like he also has like such a hard time killing in general if you know what moves to watch out for, because eventually they're gonna have to fish for, if it's not one of their main projectiles, right? So like charge shot or like missile. Eventually they're gonna need either like backer or up tilt or up smash out of shield, which up smash out of shield isn't even that fast, right? It's very big horizontally actually. But if you just like play around those moves with your better movement and you default to shield against this character, a lot of the time he's gonna have such a hard time killing you, especially since you don't have a disadvantage. Because that's the whole appeal of me gunner, right? It's like, oh, I'm just gonna throw like literally a billion projectiles at you, and eventually you send them off stage. Or sorry, eventually they send you off stage, and you just go under the stage. You go to the opposite ledge where the bomb isn't set up. Yeah, it's very annoying for them as well. It's just the only annoying part is like they're surprisingly heavy, and also they kill us early numbers wise. But if you're just down to play for the long game, we have the better tools to win the matchup for sure. Alright. ¿Por qué hay que estar abajo si pega bien fuerte? Todos aquí pegan bien fuerte y todos pierden. Es porque son muy lentos y no tienen nada seguro en mi escudo, no pueden lidiar con el T-Jolt y luego los pego una vez y los mando fuera del escenario y los mato casi que inmediatamente, ¿verdad? Es por eso. Alrighty, Min, this matchup's bad. This matchup's really bad. It's just a really good character, so I won't put it lower. But everything that Min wants, everything that's degenerate about Min doesn't really work against Pikachu. She has to deal with T-Jolt, and like pretty much T-Jolt makes the arms retract. Or if they want to go through the T-Jolt, they need to use Megawatt, and Megawatt is really slow, really, it's not that good of a move. So if you know that they're gonna default to Megawatt to deal with the T-Jolts, you can just expect that and like jump over it. Min, like main weakness is similar to Mega Man's pellets. It's like diagonally she doesn't cover herself well, and Pikachu has good landing hitboxes, especially like landing fair, for example, right? Like very very safe on shield kind of move. So Pikachu can just eventually like between T-Jolt pressure that makes her shoot her arms, aka makes her a little bit less actionable, or makes her maybe up smash the T-Jolt because of the reflector. Either one of those either gives me a little bit of time to get in on her and like close the space and pressure her on burst range, where she's not good at scrapping, right? She's like just a zoning strictly kind of character, where Pikachu can just get on her face and mash attacks on her shield and she cannot out of shield me. She will hit my shield with like an air or something and I can just out of shield literally every single time, right? So yeah, and then I hit her once and she gets juggled, she gets edge guarded super well. She has one of the shortest tethers in the game, and that's her only recovery option, right? And Pikachu is one of the best characters at edge guarding tethers, so it's not a good time. And also, her main appeal, which is edge guarding and like two framing, doesn't exist because Pikachu goes under the stage and just ignores it, right? Like he doesn't get two framed. She's one of the characters that can just camp on the center and like react to where Pikachu is going and then like ledge trap us, but at least she's like not actually gonna two frame us, right? And we don't actually like get recovery, like our recovery just sniped over and over and die. So yeah, it's like the main strengths of Min don't really exist, and her main weaknesses are exploited very very hard, and winning neutral is very like in control of Pikachu pretty much, right? That's pretty much what the matchup is. And you can randomly also use quick attack to get in on her because again she's not good at diagonally. So especially like at tumble percents, like you can do quick attack 2 and 2 upper and then just juggle her. Have you played Doramigi? No, I really want to. I have only played T and Gact out of the Japanese players. So yeah. Actually, have I played anyone else? Oh yeah, and Shuton on Coinbox right now. But yeah, those are the only 3 Japanese players I've ever played. Luego cuando pare a leer el chat voy a explicarlo en español si quieren, pero ahorita esto va para el YouTube, por eso estoy hablando tanto inglés. Alrighty. Mr. Game & Watch. We'll do Game & Watch. he's -1 or even. Like I really want to put him in even, but he's such a broken character. And listen, I'm not gonna give away all my secrets to Game & Watch because there's some really micro stuff that I do against Game & Watch that I'm sure they haven't realized. But pretty much the whole idea is that the character is so linear and he's unsafe enough on my shield that I can still out of shield a lot of his stuff, right? And like he's surprisingly comboable at low percent. So if I'm like super focused on like not getting grabbed or like not getting nared, I am not gonna like take 50 or 60 and then advantage it, right? Instead, I can like get that first lead because my frame data actually like on startup is better than his. So if I get like any single hit at 0%, I get an air loop, and that's literally like such a big lead. And just with that, I can just snowball the whole matchup because I out mobility him, so I can just constantly shield to not get hit by the max reward stuff, and out of shield him if he's not perfect, or swat him in the air because floaty, or whiff punish him because again he's floaty and a lot of his landing stuff is not the best. So I can dash attack, I can quick attack, I can quick attack and then like see if I hit him, and then if I hit him, go back. And then if I hit his shield, reset neutral by quick attacking away. And he's slow enough that he cannot punish that actually, right? Definitely a matchup where Pichu definitely has to do a lot more brain surgery compared to Game & Watch's layer 1 game plan being the reason why it's even. But the thing is about Game & Watch is that he cannot really vary his game plan that much, right? Like if he's gonna go zoning mode, it's all gonna be fair, and fair has blind spots, and like it's not active always, right? If he's looking for nair and grab, those are like punishable, right? Or like whiff punishable. If he looks for the smash attacks, those are down smashes out of shieldable. Or also, I'm sure you've noticed that I use T-Jolt sometimes to like pressure and punish the Game & Watch smash attack, so they don't feel like they can just wall me for free for risk reward, right? But yeah, it's a hard matchup. I think if you have the lead and you play it properly, it will feel even, because it's super duper winnable just by playing that degenerate. Because as Pikachu, like what's Game & Watch's strength, biggest strengths, right? It's the juggling and the ledge trapping and the edge guarding, right? Like he probably has the best advantage state in the entire game. Juggling, you just jump off stage. Congrats, you're not getting upgrade anymore. Ledge trapping, you just go under the stage and go to the opposite side. Congrats. Like he needs a little bit of setup time, so you just go to the furthest ledge. And then edge guarding, it's Pichu. Like he doesn't really get edge guarded, and if he's gonna 2-frame you, again he requires a little bit of setup. So you just go to the opposite ledge. And on the other side, like since he's floaty, that's the reason why they default to downer so much. And downer is unsafe on our shield and also whiff punishable by dash attack or quick attack. So if we juggle him and he lands with downer, we can just always whiff punish. That's probably not gonna kill. Like it's gonna be just a lot of consistent damage, but that eventually is gonna add up, right? Ledge trapping, he does have a few annoying options, but like generally like the unreactable option, which is up B, leads into him being in a juggle position again, which we already went over, which is fine. And he dies really early, right? Like this is one of the biggest things in the matchup. Like you don't have to win neutral as much, even if the character is like super duper polarizing. And lastly, edge guarding. Like sure, he's very hard to edge guard, but Pikachu has enough presence off stage that you can go off stage to bait like an early up B, and then do like a rising downer to like 2-frame him. Or like even if you trade, you're gonna trade with like his 3% rising up B hitbox, and he's gonna trade with your 15% rising downer hitbox that is either gonna spike him or like knock him away off stage and do good damage, or just rinse repeat and edge guard, right? Forward tilt also 2-frames him, and yeah, like he's an annoying character. He has one of the best toolkits in the entire game, and probably the best toolkit in the entire game against Pikachu. But he's also a very linear and slow character, where Pikachu is very flexible, right? So if you gain the lead, it's super duper winnable, and I can even see it being even eventually. But I just think it's so cheesy and losable, and also if you don't get the lead, it's like very very hard as well, that I think it's impossible for me not to call it at least -1. Okay. So yeah. Again, -1 or +1 or even depends on conditions being met. The condition for this matchup to be met is timeout, basically. Okay. Alright. I want to see you versus Asimo and Hurt. I played friendlies with Asimo off a line in the Lumi Invitational. We did like a first to 10, I think. It wasn't like, we didn't say like, oh, it's a first to 10. We just played friendlies and like did like 10 games. I think he took like 1 or 2 games, and I took the other 8. So it was pretty fun. But yeah, we'll see in bracket. That matchup is pretty bad for the Shotas, actually. Spanish. Estoy haciendo el stream en inglés porque esto va a ir a YouTube, pero luego al final del stream voy a hablar un poquito con el chat explicando si quieren. Alright, vamos a hacerlo aquí. Un poquito chiquito, ahí. Alejo, ¿de dónde eres? De Guatemala. Did you single-handedly change his opinion on the matchup? I changed his opinion on the character, not the matchup necessarily. Or like Pikachu as a character, yeah. But he always said like it's -1, and I agree, it's only -1. Alright, Palutena might be plus 1.5 actually, but I just think the character is like too mobile and too good at walling that I will say it's only +1. I think if I like sat down, grinded the matchup, and like studied the hell out of Palutena, I've never had to study Palutena, by the way. Like, it's just like ever since I became like really good at the game. Like Chag used to beat me really hard actually in the past, but then I became like a top player, and I just have won in the past against every single Palutena. The only one that I've lost to recently-ish was like last year online against Chase, but I think I wasn't playing the matchup that well that day. So I don't mind putting it in plus 1.5. Mainly the reason why is because she actually does not have anything out of shield against Pikachu, because her quickest like practical out of shield is down air, which is frame 13, and the most unsafe stuff that Pikachu has, like dash attack or like landing backer, is -12. She doesn't have footstool out of shield, so she doesn't have that, and she cannot punish rising aerials from Pikachu. Like she cannot drop shield up smash, drop shield in air, whatever. She cannot. Like all she does in the matchup is just run away, have good mobility, and abuse walling hitboxes. That's all she does. So not gonna lie, I am gonna put it in plus 1.5, because then she also gets that sharded. She also gets two framed. When she doesn't have a double jump, she gets dragged down aired. One of her biggest things, again as usual, is that her advantage state with her upper and her down tilt two framing. Pichu just goes under the stage and doesn't care. He goes off stage, he doesn't care. She can't really ledge trap as much. Like she can obviously, but like a lot of her ledge trapping is very preemptive, very guessing based in terms of timings. So if you just mix up your timings and like quick attack angles, a lot of times she has to like hard read you to get like a backer, right? And in which case she got it, but like she's gonna have to win neutral so many times. Also like her moves on our shield are very unsafe, or are unsafe if we parry, which is very practical because we're small. And also her biggest low percent damage starter is Nair, which is unsafe on shield, and also we're a small character. So it's just everything is against her. The only thing is, again, she's annoying, she's really broken at walling, she's really good at moving her own Pikachu, she's good at resetting neutral because of teleport. And she kills early enough, but most of the stuff doesn't go her way, honestly. So I'm in between, I'm in the fence of like +1 or plus 1.5, but I think 1.5 is fine, honestly. And also the reflector isn't really a thing. I know that like some Palus used to say that was a good thing in the matchup, but like you can just jump over and yeah. Hello from France. What's up, Selval? Welcome to the stream, bro. I hate fighting Pika as Palu. Much prefer the Pit matchup. Pit is much better at the matchup for sure. I would agree. Bueno, no, me confundí de jugador. Isam once said, if Kirby gets sealed, it's even. What do you think of that statement? I said that's probably true, but I also said that the way that Kirby needs to get the inhale, like get close enough to Pichu to get the inhale, is so unpractical that it's not realistic. It's not like a condition to be met, to be made even, honestly. Like, if it was something super practical, I would probably put him here, but because it's not, it's just not. ¿Cuál es tu canal de YouTube? También es solo ShinyMark. Ahí me puedes buscar. Aún no he subido muchas cosas, pero ahí lo podrías encontrar. Bueno. Alrighty, Peach. Peach. A lot of Peaches used to think this matchup was plus. A lot of Pikachu used to think this matchup was minus or like even. I will put it in +1 or even. If I were to lean into something, I would say it's +1, just because we advantage state her really hard, and also Nesmen, muchas gracias por el sub, lo aprecio un montón, bienvenido amigo, gracias por el Prime, lo agradezco. Si quieres que hable de un personaje fuera de orden, me puedes decir. Porque ahorita estoy yendo en orden, ¿verdad? Hasta que termine. Um, the biggest thing about Peach that Pikachu's used to hate is the fact that she can just like float back air every single T-Jolt and just have like a lingering hitbox. But Pikachu didn't realize how laggy that was, right? So once I realized that, I let them do that back air on the T-Jolt, and I just wait for it, and I just whiff punish every single time. Dash attack, quick attack, anything. If they start jumping over and do fair, fair is unsafe on shield, unsafe on parry, whiff punishable, right? So, we've only played once with Mutates. I'm not sure how he feels about that set. I think I played it. I played it good. I didn't play it like fantastic, but I played it good. I think. I'm not sure how he feels he played. But I definitely felt like Pikachu's advantage state is very consistent. The matchup is very slow if the Peach decides to, because in the end I'm just never committing, and she's the one that's starting the interactions, right? But Pikachu is really hard to hit meaningfully. Basically, Pikachu pressures Peach's shield very, very well, and Peach doesn't really pressure Pikachu's shield as well, honestly. Peach gets juggled incredibly hard. Peach gets edge guarded well enough. Downer hits through the Parasol for some reason and send her off stage, or at least trades for damage, you know. Side B is really easy to edge guard. You can grab ledge preemptively and like rinse and repeat up B edge guards, you know, from the ledge. She gets ledge trap, she doesn't have any special options, and on the other side, like, she doesn't really advantage state Pikachu at all. She doesn't juggle. She can fish for turnips if we're going under the stage, but that's just luck, you know, and if it happens, well, rip. We're still okay at dodging the turnips and everything, right? So it's fine. And yeah, we just out mobility her, out reward her. Yeah, no, it's not a good look for her. She's just like a really mobile character that can dictate the pace of the match and can be hard to open up. So if you lose the lead, you might be getting snowballed to try and get it back, basically, right? Alright. Pichu, definitely, I will say just +1. Just the same matchup, but if we decide to play Campy and they also decide to play Campy, because if they don't decide to play Campy and approach, we outrage them and we out mobility him and we get more out of like practical hits, where Pichu needs very specific hits to make her big stuff happen, like grabs, for example, right? And also he just dies incredibly early, gets 2-framed, gets edge guarded. He doesn't get to do the strategy of like not having a disadvantage state, because if he skull bashes off stage or skull bashes under the stage and stalls with thunder, he takes damage, and that damage really racks up quickly because he's so light, right? He's still annoying because he can also chase us off stage and try to like threaten us and like make us feel uncomfortable, so we get 2-framed like forward smash or something. So in that aspect, we can definitely get cheesed. But honestly, long-term consistency-wise, Pikachu's just gonna win this matchup consistently. What else is there to say, really? Alrighty. Up tilt can true combo into in-heal. That's how I get most of mine. But okay, but how are you gonna get an up tilt against me if I'm just like walling and like mashing T-jolts? Yeah, it's if I know that's the only setup that you can get, I'm just gonna play around around the up tilt all the time. And yeah, like normally I'm only playing around like forward air, which has more range than up tilt. So you hitting an up tilt against me and like making it so that it has the right hitbox and the right knockback to combo directly into inhale is really not that practical, you know. If I buy a coaching session, would that be a problem because I'm living in Europe? I'm just wondering because I feel like the online delay might really suck. Well, we don't necessarily have to play in the lessons. Like, we can go over like some questions that you have about the game, like just general stuff in neutral, advantage state, disadvantage state, flowcharts, matchup stuff, VOD review something from you, etc. You know, you don't necessarily have to play. And actually, that's how I do most of my lessons. I just teach people concepts by like talking constantly about the concepts. Actually, I can show you guys something real quick. I don't know if I want to open this just like this. One sec. Oh shit, I forgot to turn this off. RIP. This is not supposed to be here. Well, now it's there. Doesn't really matter. Alrighty. I can show you guys some documents. So I made this one for like someone that wanted a lesson, for example. Like I have a bunch of documents, right? This one was for one of the VOD reviews that was one of the cheapest ones. It wasn't like super in depth or anything. But the way that I explain stuff is just break it down between like neutral, punish game, then advantage state, juggle, edge guarding, ledge trapping, disadvantage, yada yada yada, random stuff, and then just like some random tips, you know. That's generally how I teach everything in the game. Same for like if I play with someone or if I VOD review or whatever, you know. So if you're interested in that, feel free to let me know. Alrighty. Peach is also one of those characters that we can happily trade moves with when juggling, right? Exactly. Like she's horrible at landing with her down air and her nair. Our up air just like put her above over and over and over, and since she's floaty, she just takes so much time to like land, you know. El gameplay en general que tienes contra Kazuya, ¿qué dice Synergy? ¿Cómo estás? Muchas veces es literalmente no entrar sin el proyectil, si eres Mario o Pikachu, ¿verdad? Porque yo sé que tú usas a Mario. Y mucho es de abusar tu mejor movilidad con él para hacer que él wifee algo y whiff punisharlo. Tienes que estar cerca de él para poderlo whiff punishar, ¿verdad? Eso es como lo único aterrador de la matchup, pero como ellos siempre van a estar jugando preventivamente, es bien práctico hacerlo. Entonces, a mí me gusta mucho saltar in place, solo esperando a que wifee, y por ejemplo con Pikachu hago landing nair, por ejemplo, ¿verdad? Con Mario podrías hacer solo landing backer, ¿verdad? Tiene buen rango y buen combo starter, entonces esa es la matchup, la verdad. Y de ahí es resetear neutral un montón, abusar su escudo que es muy malo, y pues fuera de Electric tampoco tiene cosas muy safe on shield. Ah, y por último, el Kazuya tiene solo true combos, o sea, el Electric es la cosa que más recompensa te va a dar siempre, obviamente. Pero también tiene Zero to Death del grab, pero solo tiene Zero to Death del grab cuando no le puedes hacer DI al grab, que es de 0 a 30. Después de 30 puedes hacerle DI para afuera, al down throw, y ya no convea Electric. Entonces, eso, básicamente. Será 30 si lo sé. Entonces, ajá, y luego después de 30%, literal puedes mashear shield contra él, lo que se te ronque. Y ya, eso básicamente. Dokkan Pika is so stressful, but I love it. It's stressful for both of us. It's very lame for Pikachu, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a good matchup for sure. And you're really good at it, I will say. I'm modified, but like they completely revamped their site, and I literally cannot find the button where to chat with the coach. Well, you can DM me on Discord as well if you want. It's ShinyMark1. Anyone here that is curious about like lessons, you can DM me here. And like Discord. Fuck Steve, ¿sí o no? Super fuck Steve, cerote. O sea, yo soy muy bueno en la matchup y lo que sea, y Pikachu le va bien, pero... Damn, ese personaje. No puedo creer que la gente crea que Sonic es mejor que Steve. O sea, yo creo que es más porque la gente es mierda contra Sonic. Lo dije. Lo dije. Y sinceramente, la gente que es muy buena contra Sonic somos muy pocos. Yo creo que solo somos como yo, Light, cuando no es greedy, Spargo. Mia es muy bueno en la matchup contra Sonic. Lima es bueno, pero su personaje no es muy bueno en la matchup. Mutace es bueno en la matchup. Y no se me ocurren muchos más, la verdad. La gente es muy mala contra Sonic, créanme. Algún día... Shuton es muy buena, es cierto, es cierto. Pero, créanme, un día me gustaría hacer eso de los shorts, como explicando cómo darle a personajes o como gimmicks, explicando cosas así. Porque Sonic es uno de los que más tiene. Y es también de los personajes menos intuitivos de aprender a jugar en el juego. Pero créanme que con un par de cositas en mente, el personaje no se siente Dios. O sea, el personaje es ridículamente bueno y ridículamente flexible. Pero créanme que yo entiendo por qué Sonic a veces dice que no es ni top 5, ¿saben? Creo que sí es top 5 definitivamente yo. Pero lo entendería. Mínimo es top 10 por los atributos definitivamente. Pero entienden. Bueno, seamos. Hablando de Shuton, Olimar. Olimar, I will say, for now, dude, I will say it's even. Just because I haven't gotten my rematch against Shuton yet. I have studied the character. I have played some Olimar since I lost to Shuton, because that was the first time I've ever played against such a top level Olimar. I played against Candle, but Candle is... I'm not gonna say Candle is much worse than Shuton, because he's not. But Candle has just the wrong playstyle for the matchup, pretty much. Shuton... It's like Kendall is similar to me and Isam, and Kendall and Shuton, I will say. Like, Kendall and Isam are very aggressive with, like, their projectile setups, right? Like, they pressure you immediately. Whereas Shuton and me are more conservative and like force reactions eventually, and are like much more content like just zoning in place and eventually finding a clean opening, right? So Shuton played it like super flowcharty against me, and I wasn't sure what to do because the other Olimars just eventually commit. And Olimar, even if it was Shuton, even if it's whatever, like they have such a bad disadvantage. Like Whistle and the Juggle is not that good because we have a lot of multi-hits, so we can just multi-hit through the Whistle. Like it's not that active. He doesn't have other good landing hitboxes besides like Downer, which is unsafe on shield, so you can just shield when he's about to land and out of shield him. He gets edge guarded. He just has some stalls, but it's like whatever, and he gets ledge trapped incredibly hard. Like the main thing about this matchup is that sometimes getting rid of Pikmin is annoying for Pikachu, especially like because he has to worry about yellow Pikmin, which other characters don't really have to. Pikachu can side B to get rid of the Pikmin, but there's like one position where the Pikmin plucks you that it doesn't work, so it's annoying in that aspect. But honestly, I played it very wrong against Shuton last time. Like I was just like playing my own zoning kind of playstyle, and I didn't acknowledge like, oh, okay, like I actually cannot like fully dodge Pikmin. Like it's not something viable to do. So I'm just gonna prioritize avoiding whites and purples next time, killing those as well. And then I'm not really gonna care if like yellows, reds, or blues pluck onto me. Because what matters in the matchup is that even if you take 6% from the pluck, but then you get a clean hit, that clean hit is gonna be more meaningful. Because one, you're gonna get like your full combo, and you're gonna get your advantage state, and from advantage state you're gonna get even more damage, which can even result in a kill. Or two, even if he does a lot of damage to you as Olimar, right? His killing options are very, very linear. Like it's just up smash, it's just grab, forward smash, right? And like back air. And all of those are either unsafe on shield, besides grab, obviously, or like Olimar in itself is like such a slow character that you can just like get outside of their burst range, out mobility him, and then whiff punish him for that, you know? So yeah, that's pretty much what the matchup is. Now talking about it, I think it's probably this, +1 or even. I just haven't had the chance to play it correctly since, and I hadn't played like such a good Olimar before. But I definitely want my rematch against Shuton. I would love to grind with him the matchup. ¿Todo está ordenado? No, para nada. Está ordenado en letras, en alfabético. Es lo que he ido y lo que la gente ha estado donando. We'll probably do that. Yeah, they play so different. Kind of reminds me of Myron. That's what the boss said. I agree as well. Yeah. La repetición de sus streams están activas. Ahí debería estar, sí. Ahí está la del último stream, el de Kazuya. A ver, el follow y me voy. Soy muy fan, man. Eres una bestia. Que vaya muy bien el stream. Gracias, Legiar. Un abrazo y que te vaya bien. Espero que puedas venir al stream más seguido. Alrighty, Piranha Plant. This matchup is definitely bad for Piranha Plant. Might even be +1.5. But honestly, I don't dare put it there. Just because Plant is like so heavy and kills Pikachu so incredibly early, dude. It's crazy. So he just gets so many more chances to mess up against us. But the real part of the matchup is that they really don't have a neutral. Like all they do is rely on Pitui. If they ever set up Pitui, you can just run under and like punish them directly, or like run up and grab them, you know, abuse invincibility. And their disadvantage state is really bad. They really don't have the ability to like pressure a neutral. And like they're just a very normal character in neutral, honestly, besides Pitui. The only annoying part of the matchup is that they do sometimes get to pressure us off stage because of Pitui, and the different angles it can cover, and also on the ledge because Pitui does linger a ton, right? But other than that, they get juggled, they get super edge guarded, they get ledge trapped. Their stalling off stage isn't all that real. You can just wait it out and hit them over and over. T-Jolt dictates the pace of the match really, really well, honestly. And like yeah, dude, it's rough for the Plant for sure. Like it's not a good matchup. The only thing that they have is they just kill us incredibly early. That's it. But like if you don't let them get their meaningful hits or like their super damaging hits or like their kill moves, which are back air up smash and like Pitui, then generally you'll be fine. Or like grab up throw at kill percent, obviously, right? Son demasiados personajes para aprenderte todos los match. Esta es la cosa de ser top player, tienes que sabértelos todos. No, nada te puede sorprender en torneo. ¿Qué dice Eliam? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenido. A ver. Pit. +1. Just, he's a solid character. His Nair is very annoying to deal with T-Jolt because he can do a rising Nair against our T-Jolt, and we have to immediately respect it because it's a disjoint. but also it's still whiff punishable, right? Like you can still quick attack and outrange it. Um, and honestly, it's just a very normal matchup. It's like it's the Palu matchup with a better ground game and like more and better out of shield and more meaningful just buttons all around basically against Pikachu. But his disadvantage is worse. Like he gets juggled more, he gets edge guarded a lot more. A lot of people don't know that two things about Pit's recovery. I'm sorry, Pit mains. This used to be my main, so I know a lot about the character. But like, if you react to the sound or like the startup animation of the brightness of Pit's up B, you can just on reaction drop down, double jump down air and spike him, or like just rinse repeat back there if you want to be more brain dead about it. Side B only has armor at the start of it. Like you can still two frame or like hit the side B once he's like about to grab ledge. The downer will spike him every single time. So you can just focus on that, and then if they don't recover horizontally, they're gonna up B, and you can just react later. Orbitars have a blind spot under, so you can just upper him, or like even if you hit the Orbitars, you can frame trap it because the end lag still has a lag for you to punish it. Orbitars are not a good reflector against T-Jolt. Like it's the same as the other ones. You just T-Jolt, you run behind it, and then you jump over the reflected T-Jolt, and you punish the end lag of the reflector, right? And yeah, just a very normal character that gets very normally out rewarded by Pikachu because Pit doesn't juggle Pikachu, Pit doesn't edge guard Pikachu, Pit doesn't really ledge trap Pikachu. Like he can edge trap Pikachu sometimes because of backer being so broken and non-committal and big reward, but he still has to guess. He still has to be right. But the character's good enough and flexible enough that he can definitely outplay the Pikachu, you know. But if the Pikachu knows the matchup and is good enough to outplay the Pit as well, because that's the thing about Pit, you have to still play honestly well because the character just has so many solid, consistently good attributes. Like before even Sakurai picked him up, I was telling people like, no, this character is bottom of top tier, and look at Sakurai now. Like the opinion is much higher. If you think Pit is bad, you're incredibly like. I don't know what the word is, but like you're late to the party. Ooh, nice voice crack. Haven't had one of those in a while. Really fast smash attacks. Yeah, but that's not really that relevant. That's another thing. Like we can really match on Pit's shield because, sure, the up smash is big and all, but like it's only big like in front of him, not really where the pancake is. So we can still like pancake or like space moves and be safe, you know. We can still mash on his shield a lot, and a lot of his on-shield stuff, besides like backer, which can still be parried, is very unsafe on shield. So you just get a lot of practical hits, honestly. Pokemon Trainer, definitely just +1, honestly. Like Squirtle is probably like the most annoying, but Squirtle, like he gets outranged. He gets really messed up by a lot of Pikachu's lingering moves. He has to deal with T-Jolt. Yeah, like I guess it's annoying that he can actually hit the T-Jolts with very low hit lag, just because Squirrel Fair is very low hit lag, and he can do it while retreating, but we can still like get space and do it again, and now he's not going to be able to retreat with it, you know, and then if he's approaching with it, we can just dash attack and whiff punish every time. The big thing about this entire character, well, let's go over all of them real quick. Ivysaur, his zoning is really not effective. Everything gets out of shielded. You can parry Razor Leaf if he's close enough, and then dash attack on reaction, punish him like that. Like Ivysaur's zoning is really not good against Pikachu. Like even if we're both mashing side B, like his side B and my Thunder Jolt, I eventually will win the war because I can move more with my projectile, and I can more immediately have better frame data once we're both close to each other, and he cannot punish me out of shield while I can punish everything out of shield, right? And then lastly, Charizard. Charizard is annoying and scary. He's just fucking fast. Charizard is very, very fast, has a lot of range, has a lot of kill power, and again, only really comes up at like kill percent. But he still also has to deal with T-Jolt. Like the only annoying part is that since he's so fast, he surprisingly gets in your face quickly, and then can, I don't know, hit you with forward tilt or backer or something. But all you do then is just like you play around those moves, you know. You like play around his pivot forward tilt, which has a set burst range. You can just autopilot shield. He will not grab you at that unreactable range anymore, so it doesn't really matter. You can poke with down tilt a lot, or like with fair or backer. And like his other walling moves, which are really good, are fair and backer. but those require setup. It requires him to like jump and then land and then do the hitbox. So both are punishable out of shield if they're not spaced, and if they're spaced and like done low to the ground, you can probably just parry, you know. But it's not like he can just like backer forward tilt. Like it's not like he's not a mashy kind of character. He's a character that walls you with very good reward hitboxes, and then if you happen to run into them, you explode, obviously. But you can just not. And then if he decides to give you space to make you mess up, you can T-jolt, and then he does have to deal with T-jolt limitedly, honestly. And then the biggest appeal to Charizard is obviously like the out of shield, but you just bait the out of shield every single time because you can fair him. Like the up smash is crazy good. Like the up smash is I think frame 6. But our fair is still where is Charizard? Okay, here. Up smash is frame 6, okay? But our fair and our down tilt are -5 and -4 respectively. So if you're doing them correctly and spacing them correctly, there's nothing he can do out of shield anyways, and we just get free punishes. Or we can just bait it out with movement, you know? So a lot of the things that he might get away with at mid-level or high level, or if someone doesn't know the matchup, just give us free openings eventually, right? And then I haven't even mentioned the worst part of the matchup, which is like they cannot really advantage state us well at all. Krisam, actually, the guy that is in my chat right now, used to be top 2 in Guatemala and used to make me think this matchup was closer. But that was before I used to go under the stage. That was because I used to just like get neutral lead by Squirtle water all over and over, and he would just punish me eventually. But Pikachu can just go like super duper low, and then the water isn't actually gonna be relevant at that point, you know. So nothing really happens in disadvantage for me. Like I don't get edge guarded, I don't get ledge trapped really, I don't get juggled, and in the meantime, all of their characters get juggled, edge guarded, and more importantly, ledge trapped. Like literally all of them. So yeah, no, it's sad. ¿Y lo debí dropear antes? Yo creo que es un personaje muy sólido todavía, pero sí ya se está notando mucho en el meta que le faltan cositas, la verdad. Didi es un buen personaje para usar. O Bayonetta, man. O Yoshi Gold, man. But yeah, all in all, he's still a very solid character. Like that's why I wouldn't put him lower. He just has a very practical way to still outplay Pikachu. But he has to outplay Pikachu. That means Pikachu is the one that is giving him mistakes. But also, the PTs can also kill you very early with specific setups. Like if you give him the out of shield, if you give him down throw a B with Ivysaur, if you give him a tech chase and you die at 50 from the jab lock, then that's all realistic. But if you don't, because you're mashing T-Jolt and you're being annoying and avoidant, it's not really gonna happen, you know? Richter, awful matchup. Just, honestly, this character tries to zone us out, but eventually we get close because of T-Jolt and just our general mobility. All they have in the matchup is a decent out of shield that is still not good enough because our fair and down tilt are safer. The up B doesn't kill, also. And then, other than that, they have their sword walling aerials, which are parryable, and also because T-Jolt exists, it forces them to not wall whenever they want, but when the T-Jolt is going to interact with them. And also then we hit them once, we send them off stage, and just lingering hitboxes mess with the recovery incredibly hard. Like both downer and backer mess with both their up B and the tether so bad. It's actually very bad matchup, very simple matchup. And their biggest appeal, again, as usual, ledge trapping doesn't really exist, because if you know that you're gonna get holy warded, you can just hold ledge, and even if you get 2-framed, even if you like get hit by the holy water when you're grabbing a ledge, you just SDI down, get out of the move, and you're not gonna get F smashed anyway, you know. What is there to say, dude? Very sad character. Alright. Oh, another voice crack. Wow, I'm voice cracking a lot today, guys. Alright. Ridley, I used to put it in +1, but it's literally just similar to Palutena, except it's like a character that gets hit by a lot more stuff. It's a lot more abusable in disadvantage, of course. He just has much more of a ground game compared to Palutena, just because of like down tilt and like dash attack with punishing is good. Nair is good, rising aerial that can be done retreating, but like even I know Ridley's love to like rising Nair the T-Jolts. That's whiff punishable every single time. You can dash attack, you can quick attack every single time. And then the sad part about Ridley is he actually cannot punish anything out of shield. Like not rising aerials, nothing. He gets shield poke to hell. It's very similar to Palu in that aspect. The only reason why he's not in +2 or more is because how fast he is and how good his ground moves are. Like his frame rate is actually quite good, and like the way that he finds his kills are very practical. They lead into each other pretty well, right? Between like side B, between like the walling with backer. Um, he's fast enough that he can guess aside and like 2-frame us with like the down angle forward tilt, right? Um, but yeah, still very underwhelming character against Pikachu, I will say. Alright, Rob. Rob is just +1. Samba beat me the last time we played, but I didn't know how to deal with Gyro. They were using Gyro a lot to wall T-Jolt. It's just like Gyro exists and then it eats the T-Jolt, right? But I then learned how to grab the Gyro just by like running up and like throwing it upwards after to like make it not relevant in the matchup, or just running up and fairing, you know. So Rob doesn't actually have good out of shield against Pikachu at all. Like he cannot do anything about Pikachu fair being spaced and auto cancelled. So I can grab Gyro, space a fair, and then retreat. So that's free shield pressure. Since he's a tall character, he's gonna get shield booked eventually, and I'm also grabbing Gyro, getting it out of the equation. Honestly, the main thing in this matchup is he's just very good at walling, very good at abusing disjoints, and his kill power. But honestly, if you're pressuring burst range against Rob, and while using T-Jolt, because again, you need to get Gyro out of the equation, because if Gyro is there, you cannot T-Jolt as freely. But if you're using T-Jolts enough, his ground game is not going to be good. He's going to be forced to jump a lot, and a lot of his jumping moves require some setup, especially in air, right? So you can either like parry the landing, or you can either like hit him before he actually lands, right? With like fair or like upper or whatever, right? So yeah, very simple matchup. He doesn't really down air us because we go under the stage, doesn't juggle us. He can pressure us off stage a little bit because of laser, pretty much. And then the one thing that he has that is really good in this matchup, otherwise it would be much, much worse, I would say, is that he has a really good method of just controlling the ledge. Like, once we grab ledge, he can set up Gyro, he can throw a laser, or he can throw backers and nairs, and all of those moves linger a fuck ton. So it's really hard to get off the ledge easily, or also without possibly risking death, you know? But yeah, other than that, like, just pretty much everything works in our favor. We can out of shield, we punish him really hard. He doesn't get edge guarded directly, but he's one of those characters that you can force to recover low, stall a little bit, hit him again, force to recover low again, just rinse repeat, and eventually he runs out of gas. And like same for him going high. Like if he goes super high and we like catch his landing or like juggle him with like up air or something, now he's off stage again, and now he needs to use a little bit more gas. So eventually you throw him off stage without enough gas, and that's how we edge guard him, you know? It's more of a long-term thing than an immediate kind of edge guarding character. I have a lot of troubles with range against Rob. I don't feel comfortable anywhere on the stage. Honestly, all you need to do is just like not get hit by the laser, know how to deal with Gyro and like getting it out of the equation, and don't play long range. You need to play a lot of mid range and close range to pressure him and not let him feel comfortable just like walling and throwing projectiles. Because again, a lot of his stuff just has a lot of startup, you know? And as long as you don't get hit by like the super cheesy stuff like backer on the corner, down tilt chains at like 60 that connect into like down throw up tilt up air, and like just the specific nair Gyro setups or like some other setups, you should be living into like very acceptable percent, you know? So you make your stock a lot more longer basically, and you force him to make a lot more mistakes basically. Alright, Robin, that's +2. That doesn't have out of shield. Her walling is very preemptive, so if she ever like walls us with like short hop fair or something, we can just wait it out and then whiff punish her before she lands, right? Her disadvantage is awful. She gets edge guarded, she gets ledge trapped, she gets edge guarded, and also like if you get rinse repeat edge guards and don't kill her immediately, she's wasting her resources, right? With like her up B and her side B maybe if she's like stalling. So eventually you're just naturally gonna get the kill. Her projectiles don't go through T-Jolt really. She eventually runs out of the resources, so yeah man, it's just a really tough matchup. Like the only thing that can go wrong is just like if you get hit by all the kill setups and all the kill moves, but they're all landing hitboxes and she's floaty, so you have enough time to react, right? You have enough time to get out of the way from arc fire. On the ledge, if she ever arc fires you on the ledge, you can just SDI down and get out of the move, you know? Or like SDI to the side that you're most I guess, away from the Earth Fire, and you just fall out of the move. So, yeah, not really a good character against Pika, and she's really bad at dealing with Jolt. She gets out mobility, she gets out of shielded. She doesn't have out of shield, so she gets pressured infinitely, so it's very tough for sure. Shiny, been lurking since the Sand Raid, man, but just wanted to say that I've been really enjoying listening to your insight on the game. Thank you so much, Panda, and thank you so much for the bits. I really appreciate it. Hope you stay for the next stream as well, dude. Or do that. Bear also shield pokes a full health shield on Robin. Really? I didn't know that actually. Damn. I knew that was a thing for Bayo. I tested it on Bayo. She needs to angle her shield. And yeah, it's kind of sad. I think it's with Farah though, actually, just because she's like super duper tall. Alrighty. Break time, guys. I'm gonna go grab some water because my throat is starting to hurt a little bit. So let me just. Alright. Be right back. Just gonna grab some water. Alright, what's up? We are so back. Alright. The evolution of the Bayo Pikachu matchup has had an insane Loki. Oh, has had its insane. Went from her absolute worst to a dual case to an even one. Yeah, we talked. Lima and I talked about it. I think personally, in theory, it should go into +1 Pika. Lima thinks it's even, so I just put it there anyways. ¿Por qué me sale un anuncio de la serie de Señor Bestia en francés? A mí también me salen, no sé por qué me salen en francés. We could not be more back, I agree. ¿Qué tal, briosito? ¿Qué tal, Otterken? Aquí todo bien, ya con agüita. Se me está secando mucho la garganta. Para ti, ¿quiénes serán los que mejor resultados tengan en 2025? Yo diré que será Sonics, Spargo, Mia, Tweak y yo. ¿Sí? Yo. Veremos, o sea, si puedo viajar creo que sí, yo podría ser top 10, top 5, realmente. Pero vamos a ver si tengo chance de viajar tan seguido. Yo creo que sí, yo creo que sí. Pero les digo, no esperen que... O sea, yo no estoy apuntando a Lumi Rank Top 1, no va a pasar. No tengo chance de viajar tanto. Alguien sponsoreame. Shiny, ¿sabes alemán? Sí, sí es alemán. Estudié en un colegio alemán y aparte mi familia es parte alemana. Alright, let's keep it going. So, Roy, I know I lost to Cola on the last set that we played, but trust me, I played awful. I played very, very, very bad. Uh, I definitely could have mashed a lot more. I definitely was getting static and like overwhelmed. But again, it was just like that was probably one of the worst moments I've ever played Smash in, and I only regained my confidence after playing against Sonics. But even then, I was second guessing myself that whole tournament. You know, like I was surprised I beat Tweak, and then I got super cocky against Leo and lost. But honestly, the matchup is very much in our favor. Like a lot of stuff you kind of just choose if they work or not, you know? Like you can DI jab backer outwards and it generally never kills. You can out of shield or like parry a lot of stuff. Down tilt, in theory, you should be DIing upwards, so generally a lot of tech chase stuff isn't going to happen. And more importantly than anything is that like Thunder Jolt, again, as I said with Little Mac, is like a shutting down the ground kind of move, you know? And Roy basically just hangs out on the ground the entire time, right? He doesn't have the ability to wall as effectively as like Crumb does, but obviously Crumb's recovery is so ass that it's not like higher up, right? But also Roy's recovery isn't the best against Pikachu, specifically because like his recovery is so diagonal. You can just throw a T-Jolt diagonally at him, and it will combo into a down air or like a fair. So you just kill him later, you know. But yeah, the character's just like super good, especially like in general, like movement wise, and he just has good enough attributes to like be able to outplay Pikachu. So I don't think it's even worse than this. His out of shield is okay to call out Pikachu being lazy, with like the Blazer armor for sure. But it's still a bad matchup. It's probably one of the easier plus ones. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was plus 1.5. But for now, I just think the character's mobility is too solid, and the ability to cheese Pikachu is like solid enough that it's not even worse than this. You know, I think Roy definitely has better tools to deal with Pika than Palu does, in my opinion. Este año también puedes haber entrado en un top 10, pero pues estás nerfeado por los viajes. Sí, o sea, definitivamente sí, pero es que aparte, ponte que estaba en exámenes de la U. O sea, yo solo pude viajar el primer season y de ahí no fui a ningún major. Entonces, viajé en todo el año creo que 4 veces. Y no está mal, ¿verdad? Pero imagínate, yo fui a como 4 torneos fuera del país. Que pues en Guatemala no hay ningún torneo arriba de C-Tier. Y ponte Japón mía fue a como 20 torneos. Y de esos 20, unos 15 fueron S-Tiers, A-Tiers, P-Tiers. O sea, no hay forma de competir ahí. Es, ajá. ¿No se te voltea el horario cuando regresas al país? No, la verdad es que nunca me molestó. Nunca me afecta. Solo miro mi teléfono. ¿Qué estudiaste? Administración de restaurantes y artes culinarias. Bueno, Ryu. Just plus one. Definitely does better than Ken, but it's generally just the same issues with a better projectile game and a better stray hit kind of game. Like, you cannot get out of stuff like as easily against Ryu with like SDI, where with Ken a lot of stuff just straight up doesn't work, right? He's just a lot more consistent in the matchup. It's literally just the same thing as the Ken matchup with more consistency. It's literally just that. Also, Nair is broken. Like, Nair is much, much better than Ken's. It can be -1. Do you guys know that? Like, -1 Nair aerial. That's only heard of like Lucario with Aura. That's insane. But Nair is crazy on shield pressure. Crazy to deal with T-Jolt, but that's like the only thing, really. So, yeah, like even his out of shield gets pancaked sometimes. Like, up B out of shield gets pancaked. Shoryuken. That's kind of crazy. And even if I say that a lot of stuff is less SDIable than Ken's, you can still SDI and DI out of like down tilt, hard down tilt Tatsu sometimes, or like some other combos, you know? So, yeah, it's a tough matchup for him. He's just much more consistent, but he still gets edge guarded, he still gets juggled, he still gets flash trapped. He doesn't get any advantage state against us, and important thing, Pikachu's, you can duck under Shakunetsu and Hadouken every single time. Only if you're facing forwards, by the way. If you're facing backwards, you're gonna get hit with your tail. But yeah, or I should say, if you're crawling forwards, not backwards. Yeah. Samus, this is a controversial one. I will put it in +1 or even, because in theory, Pikachu does he's just like the more solid character. Pikachu just chooses when to interact with Samus. He chooses when to like be inside of her burst range. Like, he can really choose not to get hit by Charge Shot if he wants to, or like grab, or like fair. And everything Samus does on shield is very unsafe, really. And so for her to outplay your shield, she has to get shield pressure, which she cannot do if you're just avoiding her projectiles, or she needs to grab you. And if you're like playing at that exact burst range, which is like at the tipper of his grab, her grab, sorry, you just jump out of the way and punish her. So she, because she's slow and relies on a lot of like heavy risk taking, if you're just constantly pressuring her burst range, she eventually makes a lot more mistakes than Pikachu. And the saving grace for her is that how heavy she is, how not immediately abusable she is off stage, right? Like she can get edge guarded, but a lot of the time it's not something you choose. It's something you work towards and pressure eventually, and sniff out a mistake or call her out, right? But yeah, it's tough. And then like she kills us very very early, of course, right? But she gets juggled. You can just up her to space around the bomb and avoid it. She gets ledge trapped really hard. Like the only gimmick that she has is like throwing the charge shot from the ledge, fully charged, and then re-grabbing ledge with Sair, for example. Sair gets, again, as usual, Pikachu's really good at dealing with Sair recoveries, like tether recoveries. What else? Oh yeah, and then like T-Jolt, sure, T-Jolt is scary to use because like the charge shot mid-charge starts going through the T-Jolt. But even that's like an important part of the matchup, because like if the T-Jolt isn't gonna go through the charge shot because it doesn't have enough charge, then what happens is they clank, right? And now you have the ability to get close to Samus. Or if she doesn't want to throw the charge shot to make it clank, then she has to shield, and now she's getting shield pressured, which granted, she has great out of shield, but you can still space fair, you can still space down tilt, and you can also SDI up B. Like, this doesn't come up as often, but she should know this. If she up Bs while drifting to one direction and you're SDing to the other, a lot of time you can get out actually. And nonetheless, like, up B isn't really gonna kill unless you're on the platform, so just respect her on the platforms, right? What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, and also like if she has fully charged charge shot, or like basically fully charged charge shot that goes through the T-Jolt, you can throw a full stage T-Jolt, be actionable afterwards, right? And like if she decides to waste her charge shot, that's awesome, because now we're running behind the T-Jolt, we avoid the charge shot, and now Samus has to recharge the charge shot, right? So that's at the moment that we have to pressure her, because she has to set up her charging again, right? Because by itself, charge shot doesn't really have much counterplay. Like the only counterplay is to like make her waste it and then make her charge it again. But by itself, the projectile is incredible, right? This is like the counterplay that we have, especially against Samus, right? So in theory, if you just play it perfectly, it's definitely +1. But because human error is a thing, and she's very heavy, and she kills us way early, +1 or even is very acceptable, right? Just because of like human error. Que tiene mucho potencial, pero muy difícil en esta meta. Es muy inconsistente, sí. Por Andrés FN, que Ryu es even. No. Pero yo le gané a Andrés FN. Él me sacó a Ryu y a Terry. Le gané 3-0 en Collision la última vez que jugamos. El único Ryu que me ha ganado es Buandon, offline. Él jugó a la macho muy bien, pero es literal la única vez que he perdido contra Ryu. Creo que a Vendetta siempre le he ganado. A Andrés siempre le he ganado. A Wandon le he ganado desde entonces. A Yasuo le he ganado siempre. Solo me ha quitado un set de como 20. O sea, la verdad que mi set count contra los Shotos es muy, muy bueno. A ver. ¿Cómo haces para balancear tu carrera con Smash? No lo hago. Hasta ahorita estoy streameando ya que me gradué. Pero pues, como consejo siempre es como hacer primero los exámenes y tareas para poderme concentrar en Smash, básicamente. Sorry if that was a little loud, the muting sound. Hiding. Jesús brillosito. Bueno, yeah, we're almost done. Sephiroth, just honestly, dude, might be +1, might be +1.5. I want to put it in 1.5. But his walling and mobility is too good, honestly. And like a lot of stuff that he does require me to reset neutral. So and side B goes through T-Jolt. Like it's active and it destroys T-Jolt. It's not the best thing in the world to do because it's still punishable. Similar to like a reflector, you just jump over it and punish it after. But the main thing that I was thinking when like I wanted to put Sephiroth in +1.5 is a lot of characters cannot edgeguard this character. Pikachu can, because T-Jolt does hit his Octoslash, and also Sephiroth doesn't have out of shield against Pikachu at all. Like it's just footstool out of shield, and like that's it. Literally, that's it, and that's only if I give you landing aerials, and I shouldn't, you know. So yeah, like the only thing that's annoying, I guess, is like just wing mobility and like the fact that like the disjoints are so huge that even if I parry, a lot of the time I can still not punish, you know. But I mean, it's still fine. Like I'm fine with resetting neutral and like being able to set up T-Jolt if you give me the space and just focus on walling, you know. So +1 can definitely see it being +1.5, but also the kill power is like very very good as well. So yeah, I'll say +1, but again, I don't mind putting it in +1.5 at all. Alright, Shulk. Sorry, Ramses, this matchup is +1, man. Just, I understand like where Ramses thinks this matchup is possibly almost even, but the fact is, Pikachu can just like stall out any art that he doesn't want to deal with. Most importantly, Buster, and then Smash Art, right? And also, whenever you win neutral against him, obviously Shield Art is gonna happen, but then you just pressure him again, and now you won neutral with him when he has to recharge Shield Art, which is enough time for you to win neutral again, practically, right? And then you just send him off stage, and off stage he actually does have very little mix-ups against Pikachu. His moves are very safe, I will say. Like Nair is incredibly safe. You can only really punish it before, like either out of shield if you're gonna parry it, or if you interrupt it before it comes out, right? Which is very realistic because you has really good out of shield, or like not out of shield, very good scrapping frame data, and also really good rising aerials, right? But yeah, like it's still hard to contest against him. But again, same thing as usual. Like T-jolting, T-jolt flowcharting just makes him like not be able to like wall whenever he desires. And also like the saving grace for Cloud is also like the out of shield. Shulk's out of shield is decent, but it's still not good enough. Like you can down tilt, you can fair, you can space, and just do safe enough aerials that he actually cannot punish you. You know. So yeah. Even then, though, like he is very good at running away against Pikachu. I've gotten timed out by some Shulks. I didn't even know timeout Shulk was a thing before I played. I forget his name. It's like a Canadian Shulk, I think. It's not Elijah Man, it's someone else. But then I'm just ready. I just like make sure I don't give him like freebies because Shulk gets a lot of freebies just by walling, you know. But if you don't give them to him, you can just naturally out reward him on the long term. And again, as usual, you don't get edge guarded, you don't get juggled, and sometimes you get ledge trap because his moves are huge and lingering. So it might be scary to like get off ledge against a Shulk with a smash art. But usually you can mix up your timings and angles enough that it's gonna be still hard to hit him. And even still though, even if you're like on the ledge and you're like, okay, I don't want to deal with smash art, you can drop from ledge even if you're gonna regrab, stall with thunder and go to the opposite side. He's not gonna be able to reach you in time and meaningfully hit you with smash art basically, right? So yeah, that's basically what the matchup is. Snake, I'll say even. I think, again, in theory, probably +1 or even, but it's very realistic to lose just because like opening Snake up is really hard. The most important things in this matchup is knowing how to juggle Snake, which is by hitting him on the feet, basically, so the grenades don't explode, right? Otherwise, your pressure with T-Jolts eventually are gonna outrun his pressure with grenades, since you're gonna like mix the T-Jolts with like active fair pressure or like down tilt pressure, which he's not the best at dealing with at all. Like his scrapping hitboxes are okay, you know, like his down tilt is his best scrapping move, and it hits low. It's not really doing much against aerial Pika, right? Like his scrapping is good at kill percent because I can always eat an up tilt, right? And that's not fun. But at like neutral percents where I can just like send him off stage safely, I can, you know, just cheese him. Like if I send him off stage and he goes high, I can either thunder as soon as the Cypher runs out and punish him and kill him, or if he decides to fast fall air dodge, which is what MBD does, or like Alan does, the players that know the matchup, I can rising fair, frame trap the, like hit them if they don't air dodge, right? And then if they do air dodge, I can just frame tap them and like landing near down smash, through frame trap them to kill them. And then if they go to ledge, that's fine. That's still advantage safe for me, you know. What else? Yeah, it's a matchup where I think like if you still chuck the grenades back at him, plus the T-Jolts, you're gonna outrun him in neutral, and you're gonna get more practical stuff. As usual though, the problem in this matchup is just like he kills us incredibly early, and he lives Tool forever. And if you start trading with him or like start eating a few too many projectiles, you're just gonna take so much damage and die really early. So I think in theory it's this, but I'm gonna settle for even right now because I know that the Snakes also think they win, you know. Sonic is +1 or even, leaning towards +1. The condition here is timeout, and honestly, I'm just gonna say it's probably the same for like Steve. Like I'm not gonna go super in depth into these matchups. It's just like you just gotta know that there's some spots like spin dash and minecart where you really cannot challenge these characters. Like the risk reward is just not never gonna be there. So you just don't. You just reset neutral and you just let them reset neutral as well. But what you do have is you have a projectile that allows you to play the game independently, basically, right? So with the projectile, you're eventually gonna get some chip damage, some openings, some shield damage, some stage control, whatever, and that enough can be like enough to get an opening. And once the opening starts snowballing him, these characters are not the best at approaching. Sonic, because he doesn't have safe on shield moves besides upper, which isn't really relevant against Pikachu, or spin dash, right, which you're just playing around spin dash anyway, so it's fine. Pikachu has a good enough balance to like pressure spin dash to make him release it and then catch him in the air once he releases it, and good enough speed to like be able to hit him once he wants to cancel it, right? So yeah, it's good enough. Like the only reason why it's not solidly +1 for either of these guys is just because of how flexible and good the characters are. Either between like them possibly snowballing us first or them just having like ridiculous skill power and Steve, right? But for those of these characters, like they have a little bit of a disadvantage happening with them. Like I can still juggle Sonic a little bit. I can still prioritize stage control. Same for Steve and like Anvil. I can still edge guard them sometimes, hit them sometimes off stage with like small reads, you know. Sometimes kill them off stage with a hard read, you know. And I can still ledge trap them, whereas they really cannot do much of any of these at all. The only thing Sonic kind of has is like a little bit of edge guarding against Pikachu if he reads me. But again, he has to read me, you know. And also he dies early. So where Steve kills me early and lives a little bit longer, Sonic has the ability to edge guard but dies a lot earlier, right? So yeah, it's just very slow, very annoying matchup for both. But I think if the conditions are met and we find a timeout, then both of these go into +1. But oftentimes it's hard to get into that point of the game because they're such solid characters that it probably is more like around here, you know. Very winnable matchup for both characters, easily for sure. El Vejía. Alright, Sora. Sora is +1. I don't have the most experience in this matchup, and I'm also uncomfortable in the matchup, I will say. I would love to play Kameme. Probably my best experience is against Wrath, which is really good at the matchup, I will say. Just both with Sonic and with Sora. But I tend to still end up winning more often against him. Like, one of the biggest annoying parts is, like, he is really good at ledge trapping Pikachu, just because of how much his projectiles linger. So, a lot of the time you still have to get off the ledge, honestly. And even against normal characters like Sora's reaction ledge trapping is really, really good with his projectiles. Sora also kills really early. Sora also walls very actively while covering himself, you know. But you should know that if you get hit by Nair 1 or Fair 1 while rising, you can always upper or backer out of shield or Nair out of shield to punish him. Also, counter is like incredibly fast against T-Jolt, and also really big. So it's not necessarily a counter that you're gonna be able to punish a lot, but it gets them out of position. It's similar to like foxes and wolves, you know. So all you do with the T-Jolt is get a little bit of space, get a little bit of burst range, and then you out mobility Sora and you're able to whiff punish him. So once you get close enough, that's when you can get like meaningful whiff punishes, and any whiff punish is gonna be advantage state with Sora gets super juggled, gets ledge trapped, and one thing that a lot of characters cannot say against Sora is he does get edge guarded really, really hard against Pika. As long as you know that they will have to like side B immediately to ledge, or if they ever up B, they have to side B immediately to the horizontal direction, you can line up a downer very, very practically against Sora. So yeah. Pika gana a Sonic. En teoría, sí. Más que nada, sí. Pero ya más en práctica puede ir a los dos lados, pero Pikachu tiene más chance de ganar a Sonic. Alright, Terry. This was one of my worst matchups. This character just has so much brain dead stuff. So much really good broken stuff that just kills early and is really safe on hit. And then even if they don't know what's going on, like the Terry player, if they just happen to mix their timing randomly once, that can get them a meaningful hit, like canceling an air like slightly later, for example, right? But the reality is, this character doesn't have really good tools to deal with T-Jolt. Like, the Terry's default to like Rising Fair, but that's still with punishable. His projectile is not the best against Pikachu, and it's also like if you know that they're falling into the zoning habit because you're at long range, you just quick attack on reaction and punish him, similar to like Sonic's doing homing attacks to that. So a little bit of a punish, you know. Also, Terry gets juggled. Terry gets super duper edge guarded. He gets two framed by our downer. It's awful. He gets ledge trapped. The only thing that this character has is he's fast enough with good enough kill power and frame data to make Pikachu be scared in neutral, just because we explode incredibly early, right? But there's a lot of like matchup check things like SDI, like DI on forward tilt. If you DI forward tilt correctly, I think the forward tilt Buster Wolf window is very, very small. The fact that down tilt Buster Wolf isn't really a thing unless they just do it buffered, basically, with like SDI and stuff. And I don't know, there's a lot of stuff where Terrys can mess up, but also if they don't mess up and they just get like the few reads or like few setups, or you mess up with a counterplay a little bit, you might just die like super duper early. And also Terry's good at ledge trapping Pikachu because his lingering hitbox is super duper kill. Like between what's the name? Power Geyser, Dash Attack, and Crack Shoot? Not Crack Shoot. The side B, the blue side B. All of those linger and kill Pikachu super early, so yeah, you still have to be very, very wary. So honestly, if he didn't have all of that, he would be like much easier of a matchup. But since he's so overtuned in neutral, I wouldn't even mind putting him here. But he's so frail in disadvantage that he just will get cheesed a lot more often, more practically than he will cheese us for winning neutral, which for him to win neutral, it's a lot harder, you know. Alright, Villager. This character doesn't really do much against Pika. Like, he's okay at zoning. Side B is okay, you know. And, like, it's just like a slow-ass matchup. You just reset neutral, Pocket doesn't really do much for him. You can get in his face to pressure him as he's setting up Lloyd, and then once Lloyd is set up, he has enough end light that you can punish him with like dash attack or like dash grab and use the invincibility to eat the Lloyd. And then every disadvantage state for him is awful. He gets super juggled, he gets super edge guarded, he gets ledge trapped. I used to be scary to fight villagers because he just camps you and it's used to be really hard to open up. And then he hits you once off stage and then you might eat a bowling ball and die. But now we just go onto the stage and nothing happens ever. Like literally ever. The tree is a little bit annoying just because they can zone behind it. But honestly, you just hit the tree with like T-Jolts or like wait it out, and it requires a lot of setup to happen again, basically, right? He just doesn't have the frame data, hitboxes, the speed to match Pikachu, but he's a solid enough character with good enough kill power that he can still outplay Pikachu. But honestly, I'm low-key leaning towards here, almost. Like, I do think Isabelle does a little bit better than Villager, actually. Alright. Wario, definitely just +1. The character is very mobile, very cheesy, but the main appeal of Wario is like he gets to camp you, and it's really hard to hit until he gets like his really good win condition, which is Waft. But one, Pikachu is... I don't think Rising in Air ever connects fully against Pikachu. Pikachu's just that short, so it's really unpractical. Second off, Pikachu's too short, so upper Waft is incredibly hard to get, ever. So Pikachu is one of the best characters in the game at just avoiding all of the waft win conditions. Like, the only way he wafts you is if he reads a roll with like an up tilt and then gets it, or like anti-airs you or something, in which case, like, why are you trying to land against Wario? Just go off stage. Or if he, I don't know, reads you in disadvantage and just randomly mashes a waft while in disadvantage and you just take it, you know? But I guess you can treat it similarly to like Luigi down B. Like, they're probably only gonna do it like as they're gonna fully land or as they're gonna land on a platform, you know? So you can just bait it out, honestly. And like, even if they don't do it and they land on a platform, that's fine. Like, Pikachu has good enough platform pressure with like short hop up air, short hop fair, that him getting off a platform is gonna be hard for him, you know? The only thing that Wario has in this matchup really is just like kill power and the weight. But even with his weight, like, he's surprisingly edge guardable. Like, you can send him off stage, he's gonna recover high with the bike, and you can either thunder him if you like have the timing super down, you can upper him you can upper juggle him after he jumps off the ledge or after a bike, because since he moves so much in the air, the best thing to do is probably to prioritize center stage, because he's gonna be zigzagging all over the place. And then if he lands on the center because we're covering it, cool, we're gonna cover it and hit him. If he jumps and lands to the corner or to the ledge, cool, that's still a little bit of an advantage state for us, you know, so we still are in advantage even if neutral is gonna be almost reset, you know, if we don't get like a direct punish from the juggle. And also, like, you can treat downer, like, this is something I didn't say for Steve, but like, you can treat bike on stage similar to like Steve minecart. You can just downer line it up diagonally and it just lingers and hits him, you know. And once you send him off stage without bike, he is actually awful at recovering against Pikachu. You're just lingering downer, everything trades, and he just dies, you know. And his kill options, while practical and decently safe because of his mobility, he kind of has to rely on like back air, on like bite on the ledge, for example, and maybe like down tilt dash attack. But as usual, if there's like a ground kill confirm, T-Jolt beats that, because T-Jolt disables ground, good ground options basically, right? Alright, 5 characters left. Voy a dar un ratito en chat. I'm gonna read the chat a little bit. Pajas es -2 en winnable para Sonic. Creo una nueva matchup chart. Es -3. No factos, amigo, no factos. ¿Algún consejo contra el matchup contra Mr. Game & Watch? Ahí lo expliqué bastante a fondo antes. Si quieres regresar ahí en los broadcasts anteriores, ahí puedes verlo, pero si no entiendes inglés me puedes preguntar algo específico que tú quieras. 2 días seguidos, 2 horas y media, y 2025 me asusta. Ahí vamos, Mr. Consistente. Miller, just annoying, above all, just be patient. Exactly. ¿No estaría mejor poner 0.5 en positivo y negativo para dejarlo como más claro? Me parece bien. Es lo mismo, la verdad. O sea, a mí me gusta más el phrasing de decir como que all even, pero pues esto también está bien, la verdad. Porque, o sea, sí es como muy outplayable de parte del oponente. ¿Qué tal, ShinyMark? ¿Qué onda? ¿Qué tal tu día, bro? Literal me desperté, hice una lección y me puse a streamear. Ese ha sido mi día. Pero comí rico, hay comida de Navidad todavía, entonces he estado comiendo bastante rico estos días. I know I'm late to this, but what is the ideal Mii Sword set against Pika? Is it the same as last year where Skyward Slash Dash is the recovery? I don't know the names, bro, but the best moveset is probably like, I don't know, for neutral B, it's probably like the projectile, the start thingy. Then for side B, I'd probably say it's either Chakram or the Ike recovery one. Honestly, you don't really need the Ike recovery one. You probably can just use Chakram and like focus on zoning. Up B is definitely the Octo Slash that eats through the T-Jolt, and then down B is the Reflector. Those are probably definitely, like, those two, up B and down B, are the set ones in my opinion for the matchup. -1, even, +1, or +2. No in between for me. Yeah, I understand. Like, I could definitely like put this as +2 instead, and then just make +3s. But I just think B is just like too frail of a character that like calling it like +2 is like too extreme maybe, because you can definitely still lose all of these. But I mean, I can definitely see it, like, for sure. Like, I don't think the phrasing really matters. It's more of the positioning of like the character, you know. Alrighty, let's keep on going. Wii Fit Trainer +1.5. The character doesn't have out of shield. Struggles so hard to hit Pikachu because he's small, you know. And like her charge shot is good for sure. Deep breathing is good. But like deep breathing gets stalled out. It's similar to like Shulk. So you can just go under the stage, stall it out, circle camp a little bit, and it's not relevant on the matchup anymore, you know. And then Sun Salutation is a decent charge shot projectile, but it's only really good once it's fully charged. You literally treat it as Samus charge shot, and it should ideally never hit you. And comparatively to Samus, like, she's much worse at committing forwards, basically, to like call out jumps or like grab. She's a lot floatier, or like not a lot floatier actually. Samus is floatier. Never mind. What I'm trying to say is like her hitboxes are even more committal because of how awkward it is for her to actually hit low characters, you know, especially with her aerials. So, one of her biggest gimmicks on the ledge, for example, like Nage's plank on the ledge, Pikachu doesn't care at all. You just throw T-Jolts and it hits the soccer ball back to them, and they just don't have the game plan anymore, you know. You edgeguard her, you juggle her, you let trap her easily, and she doesn't do any of those. Like, there's not much else to say for the matchup, you know. Sorry, dude, you're not welcome here. I don't want to see crypto. I don't care about crypto, honestly, but I don't want that kind of promotion here. Alrighty, Wolf. Wolf is probably gonna be plus 1, 0.5. Yeah, I think this is probably the hardest spacey. Just because the character... Oh, Ken! Ken just followed. What's up, Ken? Welcome. The real Ken, I hope, right? Ken Sonic. Anyways, Wolf. So, the thing about Wolf is that basically he has such a good mix of like movement, straight hitboxes, and like out of shield, right? That it's really hard to outplay Wolf, and also he has the reflector, right? But I have a lot of experience since I lost to more Salsa, because that was kind of like a wake-up call for me. And I studied the character very, very hard, and I realized like, okay, I still out-mobility him. He's not consistently edge guardable, but if you guess right once, that's just the entire game done, you know, because you get the stock super early, and now he has to take commitments, and even if you're fully cornered against Wolf, he still has to outplay you, like run up grab, run up backer or something, and all of those small commitments can get punished back for him, you know. But he still has such a good mix of like mobility, frame data, kill power, out of shield, and decent recovery that it's still very hard to outplay and open up Wolf, you know. Very similar to Mario in that aspect. Like the counterplay is very not obvious at all. It's just a very honest kind of matchup, you know. So yeah, I think Wolf deserves to be here, honestly. Hi Hunter, hi Radiant, what's up? Yoshi is... I'm not sure if it's 0.5 or if it's plus 1. You know what? Just because I think very highly of the character, I will put it in plus 0.5. Just because of that. But I think tools-wise, I think Pikachu probably wins plus 1. Let's leave it here. Just because I'm such a big Yoshi believer. But basically, it's like the only appeal Yoshi has in the matchup is his kill power, really. Like that's it, and randomly huge damage output with like downer, with like forward tilt, with like up tilt, and then the random kill power that he has, you know. But like edge guarding, juggling, latch trapping, Yoshi doesn't do any of those against Pikachu well at all. And Pikachu can edge guard Yoshi sometimes. He can juggle Yoshi sometimes. Armor is annoying because it lasts like literally a whole second, but because we have multi hits, we can let him back on stage, wait for the armor to happen for a little bit, and then backer him. If he ever decides to like press A to like try to interrupt us, the backer is still gonna like the armor is gonna be gone, and then we send him off stage, right? Now he doesn't have a double jump, and now edge guarding him is so much more practical, right? Same for forward air with us. We can forward air through eggs as well, if he's being lazy and drifting forwards, which I'm sure Yoshidora won't do. Gets ledge trap normally, nothing out of this world, honestly. But honestly, like the bad part for the matchup, in my opinion, is just the neutral, because Yoshi really doesn't have good buns to deal with shield, and a lot of his stuff is really unsafe on shield unless he's retreating with it. And then if he's retreating with it, he's giving me stage control, which is amazing. And then if he's retreating and like trying to sort me out with eggs, I'm gonna win the camp war, because he needs to either jump with the eggs, which if he ever jumps I can just up air him and just juggle him after, or my T-Jolts are gonna outpace the eggs and give me more free pressure, you know? Yeah, no, it's just a very simple matchup. Like there's no like secret tricks or anything, it's just you know how Yoshi works. But yeah, like I do think that Pikachu probably just naturally outrewards Yoshi, and then if Pikachu decides to play very campy and very slow, you just snowball him, and eventually you win, you know. You can time out Yoshi pretty practically as well, I will say. Alright, let's just finish and then we'll talk a little bit more with chat, and then I'm probably done. Zelda. Zelda is plus 1.5. This character, I wouldn't mind putting her in plus 1, because she does have a good amount of out of shield, but like everything that she does is unsafe on shield. And like her whole thing, the set play with like down B, you can just jump, like you can throw a T-Jolt to force her to waste the Phantom, and now you approach her, you close the space, and now she needs space to set up the Phantom and time to set up the Phantom. So now you pressure her, you space things around her, which she has very limited out of shield, which if you bait it out, it's literally probably one of the most punishable out of shields in the game. What else? She is very bad at scrapping, she has very bad disadvantage, she's very bad at landing, she's she mashes neutral B, the elite smash special, you just shield, treat it like a Luigi tornado and punish her. She's light-ish, so she dies early, and like her recovery is a little bit annoying. It's similar to Palutena, where you can still hit her on the startup, which you should aim to do. But if you notice that she's lining it up to do the hold down up B, and you know, like try to two-frame you, you can still go and pressure her. And if she is not low enough to make her hold down up B and like hit the very ledge, she's probably just gonna get two-framed, you know, and then you can two-frame her, you know. And then if she up B's, holds down, but you don't have enough time to pressure her off stage, you can still parry and down angle forward tilt, and that will punish it every single time. You just need to be confident in the timing, obviously, right? But yeah, quick attack punishes Phantom. Phantom has blind spots, and we're just really fast. We can just out frame data her. We can advantage vortex her while she doesn't really have anything in advantage against us. And yeah, dude, like she just gets hit by everything. When the only thing that she has is preemptive hitboxes that kill really early, but preemptive hitboxes can just be waited out and whiff punished, you know. And the fair and backer sweet spots are not really good against Pikachu because he's just that small, right? So yeah, it's tough. And then lastly, CSS, just solid +1. You can tell this character's broken, dude. CSS is just like, she's awkward in the aspect of like, she's really hard to hit, she zones us really, really well, and she doesn't have like a clear win condition for us. Like, she is actually a character that is mobile and forces us to reset neutral a lot because a lot of her stuff is safe between like side B and Sair. But, like, at the same time, if we set up T-Jolts, if we space our moves, she's not gonna out of shield us. We can out of shield her from time to time, and she doesn't really have any type of advantage state against us, where we do against her. You know, we always can prioritize stage control against like flip kick. We can edge guard her from time to time. We can juggle her like keeping stage control, and that's the main thing. As long as you don't commit like I guess cockily before you corner her, it doesn't really matter that she outmobilities you because you have T-Jolt to aid you to approach her. You know. And as long as you also hyperfixate on not getting cheesed by like Nair flip kick, then your stocks are going to be much, much longer. And for her to get a kill, she's going to have to read you with down smash, get an up B out of shield, which is spaceable, or like get a tech chase, which you can just hold up and DI up and never get put into that tech chase. Or, I don't know, get grabbed at 160 and die from up throw, you know, that's like it. So, and she really has to win neutral a lot more against Pikachu, and she really struggles to kill Pikachu early, whereas Pikachu can just play the same neutral as he always does and get more reward eventually, you know, and get the reward more safely, basically. And as usual, CSS struggles to hit short characters. She does have footstool out of shield downer, but that's only, again, if you give her unspaced aerials, landing aerials, you know. But yeah. So yeah, that's the chart, you guys. Let me know what you think. Que no les dé pajas ese Marcos en sus matchup charts. Yo soy Dom. Yo digo lo que yo quiero. Sin que iba a decir algo bien clipiable. Best character against Pikachu, D-4. Es muy mala matchup, Daniel. De hecho, te he encontrado un poquito. Si tú eres el que solo es Daniel en Quick Play, sí que te he encontrado un par de veces. Y esa matchup sí está muy culera. Muy culera. Pero es Dedede. Es un muy mal personaje. No sé. ¿En qué batalla se le dificulta el match a Yoshi? Creo que las peores matchups de Yoshi probablemente son los espadosos como Lucina, como Cloud. No los tengo muy claros, la verdad. No tengo tan presente cuáles son sus super peores matchups. ¿Cuál sería la mejor ventaja que tendría Pika contra Yoshi? El T-Ult, o sea, podemos campear mucho mejor que él. Eso es básicamente. La Marcus Sheet de toda la vida. Desde Smash 4, las fucking matchup charts. Pero antes como me la pasaba subiéndolas. Ahorita llevo como más de un año sin subir una y pues ahora la estoy streameando, man. Es diferente porque ahora sí ya tengo renombre. Pero siempre me ha divertido hablar del juego o pensar en el juego de esta manera. A veces estoy haciendo cola en, no sé, el Renap y hago una tier list o algo así. Marcus, did you mention the difference from pit side when using dark pit and normal pit? Honestly, dude, that's not really all that relevant. Like, I guess, sure, I do think probably Dark Pit is a little bit better than Pit in the matchup. I will say. Just because the arrow is better at in neutral, just it interrupts neutral a lot more. And there's a chance that the arrow goes through the T-jolt, just like because of hurtbox shifting, basically. So the reward is a little bit better, but also like normal pit arrows may force Pikachu to recover in different ways. So I think there's value in both of them, and side B isn't really relevant. So yeah. Hola, miren, sacó inglés el taunter. If you think Samus is harder than Cloud or Bayo, this is not ordered at all, by the way. So, and I don't really care about ordering it right now. I mean, I could. Maybe I'll order the really small tiers, but I won't order the plus ones, cause it's too long. Seph solo -1. Yo estaba pensando en ponerlo -1.5. Estaba pensándolo muy duro, solo por el out of shield así, pero la movilidad de Sephiroth y el rango fuerza que Pikachu resetee mucho neutral, y a veces con el daño en el escudo hay veces donde Sephiroth puede hacer reads y matarme súper duper temprano. Es la única razón, la verdad. O sea, es más que nada con el wing, pero si no tiene chance de usar el wing, Sephiroth sí súper vale verga. ¿Ya terminaste tus estudios o cuándo terminas? Sí, ya los terminé, ya me gradué. Bueno, no me gradué, ya cerré ciclo, ya me dieron mis notas, ya me aprobaron mi tesis. Y ya, eso. Soy el counter de Yoshi, soy muy espadoso. Espinosa, ¿qué dice Espinosa? ¿Cómo estás? Mi papá. Yo le gano, no le gano. ¿No crees que Pikachu gana +1 a Cloud? Es que la condición es, si consigues el Edgeguard, le ganas a Cloud. Si no le consigues el Edgeguard, vas even. Entonces por eso está como aquí en medio. Pero sinceramente por eso sí prefiero +1 or even, la verdad, en vez de 0.5. A ver, yo estoy de acuerdo. Pone yo link en 0.5, Marcus. Cuando juguemos vas a ver que no. Tu personaje es demasiado frágil y yo gano neutral muy prácticamente. O sea, yo gano neutral de la ni mierda, o sea, de nada. Y te puedes guardiar y te mueres. En cambio tú no. Tienes que ganar neutral 1000 veces y ganarme con un kill setup, matarme con un kill setup temprano. ¿Qué moves de hacer Sephiroth en neutral? Porque le va muy difícil pegar algo, además de Nerle Mao. Solo mucho retreating aerials, porque Pikachu no puede hacer nada acerca de los retreating aerials, la verdad. Entonces, sí, sinceramente es mucho de eso, mucho side B, porque el side B le gana al T-Jolt, y si estás abajo de una plataforma es difícil que Pikachu salte encima del side B para castigarte, porque estás campeando abajo de la plataforma. ¿Y qué más? Solo eso, la verdad. O sea, no te digo que sea un buen matchup, sinceramente es de los peores +1 que tiene, o de los mejores +1 que tiene Pikachu. Pero es un matchup jugable más que nada con el wing. Tienes que hacer que el matchup dure suficiente y que tu stock dure suficiente para poder jugar con wing y poder chisear a Pikachu, básicamente. Todas estas matchups, como casi 1.5 y así, son literal, se trata de chisear a Pikachu. Es la única forma que puedes ganar. Estás a ver como que Steve más 0.5. La verdad es que lo expliqué junto con Sonic y Steve. O sea, si hubieras estado ahí en la explicación y hubieras escuchado, dije que la condición es la misma. Las dos tenemos que jugarlas de timeout y de que tiene que ser un timeout desde cero. Pero sinceramente, a como vos las has estado jugando, sí veo que Sonic no creo que tenga mucho más que hacer aparte de outplayar directamente. En cambio, Steve creo que sí ha shifteado mal la matchup. Entonces sí la voy a poner a nivel, la verdad. Gracias por decirme ahí. Se me había olvidado. Sí considero que sí, la verdad. A ver, ¿qué consejos contra Mr. Game & Watch siendo Pikachu? Pero dime algo más específico. Eso es muy general, amigo. Voy a revisar todo el stream porque creo que Greninja puede ser más parejo. Yo la juego con Moe demasiado y créeme, o sea, puedes preguntarle a él. Yo creo que él te va a decir lo mismo o más 0.5. Y no sé, hay muchas veces donde Greninja no tiene out of shield, entonces básicamente tiene que shieldear para cubrirse de mi buen frame data y luego tiene que saltar para resetear neutral. Entonces yo hago fair y hago upper para calautearle el salto. Y si él me quiere calautear ese upper con algo, literal solo es upper, entonces nada, pasa nada. ¿Consideras a Ness even y a Lucas +1? Porque Ness tiene hitboxes que duran más y matan antes que Lucas. Lucas tiene que ser más preciso. Aunque tenga un poquito mejor recovery, la verdad es que no importa tanto. Eso es todo, la verdad. Solo es mejor kill power y cosas más prácticas contra Pikachu. Presión más práctica. Y Lucas muchas veces no está pasando nada neutral, en cambio Ness sí puede forzar un poquito de waleo constante. Y si yo tradeo con el nerd de Ness, voy a salir perdiendo siempre. En cambio Lucas tiene que timear un fair que me walee en ese momento, ¿sabes? Ok, vamos a revisar un poquito la matchup chart. Aquí, sinceramente, vamos a ordenarlos un poco. Yo creo que Ness probablemente sí es la más difícil. Creo que Mario es probablemente... Es que sinceramente, después de Ness, yo podría considerar que estos cuatro sean más uno o even, la verdad. Contra Lucas no pasa nada en neutral, real. Literal, solo puedes jugar a evitar el PK Fire, luego get into burst range y ahí es cuando ya están jugando el juego. Pero el PK Fire zoning la verdad es que hace mucho de nada. Solo hace algo si tú estás siendo desesperado y estás forzando tus approaches. No hace shield damage, el personaje no es bueno agarrándote, no es bueno shield pokeándote, entonces no es rápido, no es como que pueda presionar inmediatamente después del PK Fire. So, yeah. ¿Sabes que puedes hacer up B out of shield contra el up smash de Mario? Sí, sí lo sabía. Contra el de Mario sí, contra el de Doc no. Maldito Doctor Mario. Pero sí, ese es probablemente el punish más consistente. Yo, contra Mario sí me siento cómodo tirándole drop shield dash attack, porque tiene muy poquito shield stun. Es bastante práctico. Chrome menos 3, nah. La verdad es que le va about as good que a Roy, la verdad. Solo por el disadvantage diff. Creo que le va un poquitito mejor que a Roy, pero no es relevante enough, la verdad. Chrome menos 4, to be honest. Ish. Cuando es que puedes hacerle upper al backer en escudo de pica con Sonic, literal lo puedes bufferear en el momento que te pega el primer hit. Y el hurtbox shifting de las piernas de Sonic hace que te pegue out of shield. Entonces siempre. Yo por eso si te das cuenta ya nunca ever comiteo en neutral contra Sonics. Porque si hago eso me va a comer 50 de la extensión de la plataforma. Entonces prefiero pokearle con down tilt o con fair o solo con T-ult. Alright, feel free to ask questions, you guys. I'm gonna put the sub thing again, the donation goal thing again, just in case. But yeah, ¿cuánto te mi? Lo suficiente, mano, lo suficiente. Alright, fine, I'm gonna order the tiers and then maybe I consider shifting them. So I'm just gonna ask myself like, okay, is Ganon easier than Ike? Yes or no, and so on. Is DK easier than Ike? Yes. Is Ike easier than Dedede? I think Ike is harder. I think K. Rool is harder. Or easier than Ike, sorry. Wait, this is tough to like phrase in English. Sorry, this is not my first language. Sometimes I get confused. I do think Dedede is a little bit harder. Actually, no, I do think K. Rool cheeses you more a little bit. We'll say Mac. Mac and Ike feel like the two hardest matchups in this tier, honestly. I'll say Robin is third, and then Richter is... Yeah, this makes sense. Lo suficiente, buena onda por la respuesta, men, lo suficiente. ¿Cuáles son las diferencias entre un Pro Controller y un Control GC para ti? Básicamente solo son las coordenadas y pues el hecho de que el Pro Controller tiene que ser inalámbrico, entonces a veces tienes interferencias, pero yo si tuviera que recomendarte algo, si vas a jugar Smash solo para querer mejorar y no te importa, y no crees que vas a hacer nada en este juego, como internacional, pues usa el control que quieras, no importa. Pero si vas a ir a torneos y que planeas ir a Majors y así, usa GameCube, es la mejor recomendación. O empieza de una vez con Pro ECC, porque el Pro ECC es un Pro Controller que se conecta, pero tiene coordenadas diferentes. Entonces yo por eso no me he podido acostumbrar, estoy demasiado acostumbrado al Pro Controller normal. No sabría decirlo, en general se me complica Watch, no sé cómo debo jugar la Watch porque si no se me complica. Pero sí sabes inglés, es que antes ya hablé muy extenso acerca de Game Watch, pero básicamente juega, puedes dividirlo en porcentajes, de 0 a 60, 70. Gracias, Angro, voy a tomar mucha agua. Puedes evitar el Nair y el Grab, que son la única cosa que te dan mucha recompensa. Y luego en Kill Percent, o sea, cuando tú estés en 70 o 80 con Pikachu, solo juegas a que no te pegue el Fair y los Smashes. Ya solo con eso vas a hacer que él tenga que encontrar como openings de neutral mucho más honestos y va a ser más difícil para él. Y el hecho es que Game Watch es muy, muy liviano, entonces es como bien práctico ganarle antes de eso. Never tried or liked Pro GCC? I tried it, honestly, but I didn't like it. Yo, thank you so much, LFTN on Valorant. Thank you so much for the sub, dude, appreciate it. Cultura mixta, check. Pro GCC, ¿dónde lo puedo comprar? Literal creo que puedes googlear Pro GCC y te va a salir la tienda de alguien que se llama Handheld Legend. Ahí te sale. Dice matchup chart de Pikachu. Ah, ok, ese es el otro. Modders, hay varios en Twitter. Eso es cierto también, hay varios en Twitter. Sonic es más fácil que Ganon. Sí, ese es cierto. Alright, I'm just gonna order these 3 tiers and then I'm gonna finish the stream because I don't really care about the other tiers. ¿Qué shampoo usas para tener ese pelo bien hermosito así todo pro como yo lo quiero? Uso, no sé qué shampoo uso, sinceramente. Yo siempre que he usado, es que yo lo que hago es uso un poquito de acondicionador nada más y luego me peino completamente para atrás con un peine y luego me seco el pelo con secadora de aire para atrás y así queda. Nunca he hecho nada especial con mi pelo, la verdad. Yo nombro el Meta Knight, sí, o sea, todos los personajes que están aquí, o sea, literal todos, ya los hablé. Y el Panther, ok. Ness es más difícil que Mario, sí. Pac-Man es más fácil que Mario, sí. Pac-Man es más fácil que Snake. Son como lo mismo, la verdad. Y Steve siento que sí es un poco más difícil que Pac-Man, la verdad. Creo que Pac-Man es el que más podría ir acá, igual Steve luego, pero props no, actually. Actually creo que Steve es más difícil que Snake, actually. O sea, viendo las cosas que sí puede hacer Steve en la matchup, I think so. Bio es más difícil que Cloud, no. Bio es más difícil que Doc, sí. Actually no. Bio es más difícil que Lucas, son como lo mismo. De estas, probablemente la más difícil es Olimar. Y sí, sinceramente. Wolf debería ir ahí, la verdad. Mega Man es más complejo que Luigi. Este tier no está nada ordenado. Nada. Estos dos no están nada ordenados porque me da mucha pereza. Sonic es más difícil que Samus. Y ya, creo. Sí, eso es lo que yo creo, la verdad. Y sinceramente creo que no cambiaría nada más de la tier list. De la matchup chart. Si mucho, Loki pondría a Lucario aquí. Pero así por muy poquito. Es todo. Solo por el factor cheese que es demasiado práctico contra Pikachu. Pero bueno, eso es todo, sinceramente. Vamos a subirla y ya. Por favor, Twitter, no saques nada baneable, please. Awesome. Good Wolf placement. I knew you were gonna like to see it. Yeah, no, I think Wolf is such a complete character against Pikachu. I don't think it's quite even, just because like I have so many, I have a good amount of chances to like cheese you, and like it literally turns the whole match around. But it's so hard to open each other up, basically. But yeah, it's basically what it is. Game Watch también llamado como el... No entendí tu comentario. Gracias, tips en inglés, pero no pude poner atención porque ando con un dibujo pendiente, sorry, pero gracias. Dale, no hay problema. ¿No te acuerdas de los dos lados? No, no, para nada. The only reason it's actually losing for Wolf is because Pikachu is a better character. Yeah, it does seem like a just character diff kind of matchup, honestly. Finally, I catch a ShinyMark stream. Dude, you caught it, but it's about to end. I'm gonna go do some other stuff real quick, because I will get busy. I definitely wanted to get this out of the way. Alright, honestly, that was fun, y'all. I think this is probably gonna stay like this. Like maybe some few placements are gonna shift like down or up depending on the day. But I do think Peach is fucking ridiculous. Like top 2, top 5 in theory. And then practicality wise, he's like top 10 to like top 5 still. Like, he's a crazy character, dude. Clown neutral. Siento que toda sufrimiento no me deja hacer nada. Es que todo lo tuyo pega mucho más duro. O sea, un golpe tuyo es como 3 míos, básicamente. A menos de que yo te pegue algo como backer offstage o un air loop, ¿verdad? Pero si evitas los starters de eso, es difícil para que yo lo encuentre. Y todos tus golpes me matan muy temprano. Tienes más rango. Yo no puedo faltarte respeto porque tienes mucho rango. Probablemente lo que te está pasando es que tú estás queriendo empezar interacciones en vez de prevenir que yo empiece las mías, básicamente. Si tú tratas de prevenir eso, es dificilísimo para que Pikachu entre en neutral. Y todo lo que hace Cloud me hace out of shield solo por el hurtbox shifting. Es lo único que tengo para pegarle al shield de Cloud safely es el down tilt. I think the only reason is actually he's just better character sometimes. Yeah, exactly. Just Pikachu doesn't have a disadvantage while you do. That's literally it. No olvides la bola de Samus. Sí. Bueno, vamos a dejar el stream ahí, amigos. O sea, necesito básicamente especiales para las interacciones de Pikachu. Sí, mira cómo lo hace Spargo. Spargo me presiona mientras hace eso todo el tiempo, literalmente. Bueno, vamos a dejar el stream ahí. Vamos a buscar a quien raidear rapidito. Vamos a raidear a... A ver, podríamos raidear a Ethan, pero quiero ver si hay algún compañero aquí latino. A ver, está Riddles. Ok, vamos a... Sí, raideamos a Ethan. Ethan es una buena opción. Alright, raid Ethan. ¿Cómo es su tag? I'm Ethan. Was fun to lurk. Thank you, Wizzy. Hope you're doing good, man. I miss you. Fucking miss you. Me tienta. ¿Mañana harás stream? No creo. Tal vez voy a hacer como 3 o 4 streams a la semana. Ahí los voy a estar anunciando en Instagram o en Twitter. Ahí quiero... Ahí están pendientes, ¿verdad? ¿Es stream pregrabado? No. Para nada. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you, Dr. Mega. Thank you for staying here all this time. Thank you everyone for watching. Gracias a todos por ver. Los quiero un montón. Un besote. Bye bye. Oh, I forgot this wasn't immediate. Oops. Not a streamer. Adiós, Dracu.